Welcome back to another UCL Fantasy deadline stream. This time out of Matchday 7, we have entered the knockout stages. There's a lot to talk about. We've got one European giant, but we've got the Champions League holders as well with their lineups today, which is going to be very helpful. Bellingham is set to miss out the next 2 to 3 weeks, so we need to find replacements for him. It's kind of typical, isn't it? When you upload a team selection video, everything is kind of up to date, but then you get that major injury. I am still on holiday, of course, for the entire week, but the plan is still to get some FPL content out on the channel. There's already a best free hit team available for channel members and patrons. And also for those two, the channel members and patrons, you are able to see my team right now. Right now, what you see on screen isn't my exact 11. There are a few picks in there that are going to be in my final team, but to prevent copying, I'm kind of keeping it on the down low. So it's just another added perk for those that have signed up already and those that are either a channel member or a patron. But my current plan is to captain Haaland tonight. If I end up going for Vinicius Jr. up front, he would be a nice alternative for the Tuesday. But I'm going to go straight into your questions and comments as always. Be sure to smash the like button and subscribe for new. Our aim is to get this video to over 500 likes. Let's be sure to do that and also get closer towards 24k. Well, in this case, 23k first, then we'll get to 24k. And if we can reach that today, by the way, it'd be absolutely amazing. But let's get straight into your questions and comments as always. And a massive shout out goes to Daniel Minicians for becoming a differential and also to Exotic Log before the stream even started. Big up to both of you. And like I said, you can both now check out my team currently and also the best free hit team video for FPL ahead of Double Game 25. Venom says, another day of really appreciating you covering UCL Fantasy content as well. Not many do. Big thanks. Also, is Fulkrug a good pick for an away game against PSV, who are too good at their home? Thank you very much, Venom, for the kind words. I very much appreciate it as always. As for Fulkrug, he's a decent option in terms of the cheaper forwards. You've also got Openda and Rodrigo for a little bit more. But if I'm being completely honest, there are 4 forwards who really pique my interest. Mbappe, Vinicius Jr., Kane, and Haaland. For me, those are the 4 best. If you want to go for a cheaper option, I think Fulkrug is one of the better ones, but I'm still not convinced, and I think there are better options elsewhere. Aviad M says, hey Dylan, 2 questions. I play also in Israeli format fantasy, and prices are different, so I need a cheap defender. Another question, other captain without Haaland, Mbappe, or Kane? Other captain without those 3, I'd say Vinicius Jr. definitely stands out. Saka for the 21st of February. I'm not so sure, though, which defenders will be cheap in your fantasy format there. But I think Maatsen from Borussia Dortmund would be a nice shout. Also, potentially a Kanji if he starts for Man City tonight. Just look at the lineup for Man City and pick, the cheapest option you could argue. But I'm going to go for a more expensive option who is probably more nailed on in the long term. Aviad says it's crazy to give credit to Barcola. You have other young players like him. I'm not really too interested in terms of buying young players, so to speak. I just buy players that I think are going to score me points, and I've got a few of them in my ranks like Saka and Saliba, but it's nothing that I really look into. Cylindra says, hey Dylan, good to be back. Thoughts on getting Brahim Diaz if he starts and going without Vinicius in the centre forward role and get Mbappe or Lautaro instead? I don't think Lautaro over Vinicius Jr. is a good idea. And look, Lautaro has been in great form for Inter Milan this season. He's one of the most informed forwards, period. But I think Vinicius Jr. is a better UCL fantasy option. And you'd also expect Real Madrid to go further than Inter Milan. I don't mind going for Mbappe, though, over Vinicius Jr. That's fine. I think that's a very close call. And Brahim Diaz should start. And we're going to see the lineup, of course, very soon. Probably in half an hour's time, maybe a little bit longer. But Real Madrid typically give their lineups very early in the Champions League. And should I go for double City defense or just one defender and go for Foden and Rodri in midfield? That's all team dependent, because who would you go for? So if you're going for Rodri, who are you going to replace in the midfield? That's a big question. And also in the defense, I'm not a huge fan of Man City defenders in general. And I'm currently going for a double up defensively, but it's a goalkeeper and also one defender. How many times I can change the captain this round? It's all covered in all my videos. I always cover these details, but you can change it 3 times. So we have 4 opportunities for the captaincy. You've got a captaincy chance today, you've got one tomorrow, and then next week the same thing for the Tuesday and the Wednesday. Saha says, hey Dylan, Vinicius or Mbappe? I'm not going to lie to you, it's 50-50 for me. I'm currently going for Mbappe. That's an update that I have made for those that also have followed up on Patreon or as a channel member. That's one change I've made from that, and I'm kind of 50-50 on it. Kalinoglu or Kimmich? I'd probably go for Kalinoglu. If I select Vinicius, I can get Calhanoglu. If I choose Mbappe, I'll have to take Kimmich. I don't think either's that bad anyway. One thing I don't like, for example, without going for Vinicius Jr., is I'd have no Real Madrid attacking coverage, and that does bother me a little bit. But yeah, I think both duos are absolutely fine. But if I had to pick, it's probably Vinicius and Calhanoglu. But honestly, we're talking about very fine margins. Thank you, El Padrino, as always. Yes, big up Dylan and the chat. Run up the likes, real ones. Thank you very much, as always, mate. Alejandro says striker alternatives to Mbappe and Kane. Well, Haaland, of course, if you can even count him as an alternative. Apart from him, I think the best one is Vinicius Jr. Then you're looking at Gabriel Jesus, who should be back by the time Arsenal play next week. Apart from him, I think Openda, Fulkrug are decent, not to mention Lautaro and Griezmann. But yeah, I think apart from those two, the best ones are Haaland and, for me, Vinicius Jr. Yeah, Bellingham is injured. I've covered that. So 2 to 3 weeks he's going to be out for. And he's aiming to return for Matchday 8, the second leg against RB Leipzig. Yeah, Maro, UCL is back. And thank you, Aaron. It's a song made by my cousin. And also the other tunes that you hear in the intros are from him as well. So be sure to check that out. Big question today is what to do with Bellingham. Well, you sell him. He's not going to make it for Matchday 7. Either way, wait for the lineups just in case. If he's in it, then of course you bring him in. But it's pretty much almost impossible, I'd say. All the reports indicate he's out for Matchday 7. He could be back for Matchday 8. But there's no reason to just keep him and bench him. I'd rather go somewhere else. Wei Seng, welcome. Good to see you. Hey Dylan, have you collared your hair? It's just the lighting, to be honest. And also, I've been out in the sun all day. I was at the beach. So yeah, that's probably why. Hey Dylan, why sack out for you? Just for those of you that aren't aware, what you see on screen isn't my final team. It's to prevent copying. I do this because if I just put my exact team throughout the stream, people literally just copy every single position, the captaincy, also everything in terms of future moves. No matter anything you can think of, they'll copy it. So I'm trying to prevent that on a mass scale. Foden or De Bruyne? I prefer Foden in terms of value. Maatsen or Hummels? Based on the recent situation, I'd go for Maatsen. My only concern with him is that he gets a lot of yellow cards, but he's picking up some assists, whilst with Hummels, he hasn't started a single game since returning from illness. Dopa says, do you still think Kane is a better choice than Vinicius, giving his 2024 form so far? Yeah, that's a good point. I don't think Kane's been in particularly blistering form, whilst Vinicius has been very impressive recently. And to be honest, I'm not against going for Vinicius and Mbappe at the expense of Kane. I'm not completely against that, to be honest. Okay, thank you, Matt Sky. Yeah, not too surprising. Real Madrid always put the lineups very early. So I'll have a look at that and we can just basically go for it straight away. We've already got over 400 people watching. Thank you very much. Be sure to drop a like. We've already got 49, so I appreciate that. But the aim is to get this to over 500. And let's see what numbers we put up tonight. And also to get closer towards 23k subscribers. But let's get straight into the Real Madrid lineup. Let's see if Real Madrid have posted it themselves. They probably have, actually. But yeah, they've already put it. So let's put this on screen. And just give me a second. And by the way, if there are any drop frames or anything, I do apologize. But yeah, I'm using Wi-Fi. It's actually pretty good. But, based on distances to the router, there can be some issues. So this is the Real Madrid 11. Lunin in goal. Carvajal, Tchouameni, Nacho, Ferland Mendy, Valverde, Toni Kroos, Camavinga, Rodrigo, Brahim Diaz starts, and Vinicius Jr. That's the starting 11. So no Bellingham. He's not even in the squad at all. There's some decent options on the bench there as well, but not the most stacked Real Madrid squad you'll ever see. They do have plenty of players missing, such as David Alaba, for example. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think he's even on the bench. Yeah, and also Rudiger. So there's a lot of injuries, even Courtois, who is ruled out for the season, but that is the 11 for Real Madrid. We've got it already. We'll talk about the Man City one very soon. There's a few things I want to show you about some teams that play tomorrow as well, which is very important. We'll get into that right now, by the way. So Copenhagen haven't played a competitive game since their last Champions League match in December. So maybe that's another advantage towards Manchester City. And then, of course, there's this news that Bellingham is aiming to play the second leg versus Leipzig. That is the target. So Matchday 8, Bellingham could return. Brahim Diaz is expected to start tomorrow. He is starting, so that is pretty much all done and dusted. Morata is out for 2 to 3 weeks. So if you're considering Morata, don't go for him. Griezmann is probably an even better option in general, but Morata has been very impressive this season in La Liga, one of the top scorers there, and also in the Champions League, especially in home matches. But He is out for the next 2 to 3 weeks, and Inter Milan is going to be a very tough test there. Next up is Thomas Muller is expected to start against Lazio tomorrow. And in terms of other Bayern Munich news, Manuel Neuer and Mazzari were rested yesterday, but they did train today. And Manuel Neuer did the press conference, which is a big indication that Neuer will start against Lazio on Wednesday, Valentine's Day, the 14th of February. And the other bit of news I have is about Barcelona. Joao Felix and Ferran Torres are out of the first leg against Napoli, and I'm sure more news will pop up here and there. If you see anything, be sure to let me know. But thank you, Matt, and those that pointed out that the Madrid lineup is already up on the Real Madrid page. So yeah, pretty much no surprises as we talked about. Also in the comment section, I did update things on my videos about Bellingham being injured, but it is a shame, of course. Maybe not a shame, actually, you could argue, because now it opens up the game a little bit more. Bellingham was the most owned player, and now you've got to pick the best replacements. And for me, I think Calhanoglu is right up there, and I've talked about this in all of my videos, including the best team for Matchday 7. So let's go back to my team as things stand, and technically it isn't my team. There's a few players in there. If I'm counting exactly how many, I would say probably just 2. Probably 2 of the players are in my final squad. Some of them could still come into my final team, like Lunin, for example, but he isn't in it. So let's go back to your questions. Okay, by the way, I just noticed something. So let me just fix this. Thank you. So I just noticed it now. Not sure why that's been the case. Why is the overlay going so low? I can just change it now quickly. Yeah, that's a bit weird. Yeah, I don't know if it's an internet issue which is causing that, but yeah, let me just check the overlays. If they are going to be a bit of a problem, then yeah, just give me a second. All right, so yeah, I'm going to check out the next overlay whilst we go through the next message and see if that's going to be an issue. Cheap defender enabler, I'd say Maatsen from Borussia Dortmund. If Haaland's not starting, do we go against him? Yeah, definitely. And with Vinicius Jr., Mbappe, and Kane, you can quite easily do that. Yeah, thank you, Venom. As he says, drop a like. It'd be very much appreciated. We're going to go for a lot of questions here today. Marquinhos or Di Lorenzo? Di Lorenzo para mí, pero de Paris Saint-Germain me gusta Skriniar y también está Hakimi. Ellos dos son bastante buenos. Y Marquinhos era bastante bueno en las últimas temporadas, pero no sé, no me llena de confianza en esta temporada. Cancelo, Koundé worth it? I think Cancelo just because of the attacking potential. He's got a few assists in the last couple of match days, but yeah, I don't think I'd go for Koundé right now. What Bayern midfielder you recommend? I'd say Kimmich. Cheap option, very consistent, gives you 5 points or above most match days. Apart from that, I like Musiala and Sane. I think that's the way I'd probably rank them right now. So Kimmich first, Musiala second, and Sane third. I think Musiala scored his first ever Champions League goal against Lazio. Bilal says pick 2. Tricky, but I'd probably go for Sommer and Lunin. I don't mind Raya at all, and Arsenal have a good defence, but I do think Porto will score in Matchday 7, and you can cover Arsenal defensively with Saliba. Thoughts on Xavi Simons? In terms of Leipzig players, Openda, Simons, and Raum are the best options, and Simons is my favourite still, but I do expect Leipzig to lose in both legs potentially, but yeah, Real Madrid are very likely to go through, and that does put me off from Xavi Simons. Musi Bada says Musiala and Foden or Kimmich and KDB. Tricky one, but I'd go for Musiala and Foden. Very close call though, very close. You could argue that Kimmich and KDB is even better. Bellingham out, Diaz in. I don't mind that. But I'm looking at another direction. I haven't got Diaz myself personally. If I were to go for Real Madrid attacker, it would be Vinicius Jr. Vinicius or Mbappe? I'm currently on Mbappe, but that could easily change. I had Vinicius yesterday when I posted my team for patrons and channel members, but right now, yeah, I'm currently on Mbappe. Odegaard or Sane? Close one. I really like the way Odegaard's been playing, by the way. Since December, he came back from that injury and illness, and he's been one of the best players in the Premier League, but sometimes he has a great game and doesn't get the goal contribution, so I'd probably lean towards Sane. Brahim Diaz or Thuram? Diaz, and then you can always go to Bellingham in Matchday 8. Do you think Xavi Simons will be good? Yeah, look, this is one thing that you could argue that when you're kind of too bogged down and focused on getting players that are not only good options for matchday 7 and 8, but also that can go far in the competition, you can get sidetracked and ignore good options like Xavi Simons, who might be eliminated by the time we get to matchday 9, but he's still a good option whilst he's still in the Champions League. So yeah, I think he'll be decent, but I think there are better options in the midfield right now. Dusan Pavlic, look, he's a decent option. He's had a few goals recently, but I think Kimmich is the best Bayern Munich midfielder. Best Bayern defender to pick, I'd say Kim Min-jae or Upamecano, but there are reports that Upamecano could be benched and it will be Kim Min-jae and Eric Dyer. And other predicted lineups I've seen have Kim Min-jae on the bench with Upamecano and Dyer. I'm not even sure why they're doing that. I know Dyer's been decent for Bayern Munich recently, but yeah, you should just play your best team. Thank you, Ronak. I finished first last season in your mini league, Maraja FC. Fair play. Good luck this season as well, and let me know how you're doing. Gustav says best 8 million midfielder and options in place of Bellingham. Like I mentioned towards the beginning of the stream, Calhanoglu is a great replacement. If you check out my best team video, you will see a lot of the best midfielders and options that you can pick. So you can kind of have all the information there about Bellingham and the best replacements on him. ¿Pondrías a Luis sobre Ake si juega? Si juega, sí, pero lamentablemente no creo que ni siquiera Luis o Ake van a empezar el partido. Yo creo que va a ser Kyle Walker, Rubén Díaz, Akanji y Gavardio ahora no, parece que no está en el equipo. Y Kovacic es otro jugador que no está en el equipo. Así que ahí puede jugar Ake en este caso, pero a largo plazo creo que Ake no va a jugar muchos partidos en la Champions. Cancelo, Koundé worth it? I covered this. Cancelo for me is still worth it. I don't know why people pick Raya. No, I disagree with you completely there. Ramsdale only started in match day 6 because it was a dead rubber game. Arsenal had secured top spot. Raya starts every single Champions League and Premier League game. I'm not going for Raya. Like I said, what you see on screen in my team, it's not my final team because I'm trying to prevent copying, but Raya is definitely going to start for me. Can you name 4 captains? It's all covered in every single one of my videos, but if you want me to go for it again, for today, I'd say Haaland or Vinicius Jr. Tomorrow, it's Kane or Mbappe for me, the best options. Then we're looking towards next week. For me personally, I'm looking at Calhanoglu on the Tuesday, the 20th of February. On the 21st, probably Saka. Brahim Diaz or Calhanoglu? Calhanoglu. Wilson Guerrero, not a big fan. I think from Bayern Munich defenders, you go for one that can get a lot of ball recovery points. So Upamecano or Kim Min-jae. There is transfers between 13, 14 games and 20, 21 games. I'm a bit confused. Thank you, Dylan. There's no transfers between those games. There's substitutions and there's also different captaincy options. So the way it works is once the deadline is locked in just under 2 hours time at 9 p.m. in Spanish time and also 8 p.m. UK time, the way it works is transfers are locked in. So anything you do will be ahead of match day 8. So you can't make transfers within the match day. But what you can do is after the Tuesday games are done and before the Wednesday games are beginning, you can make some substitutions and also change the captaincy to someone who hasn't played yet. Honestly, would avoid too many Bayern players. Locker room is in a shambles. Yeah, they should still be Lazio though. That's the way I see it. And football's a funny game. They just lost 3-0 in a massive match against Bayer Leverkusen, but they could still win and get a big win at that against Lazio. So that's the way football works. I'm a bit less keen on Bayern now. I won't lie to you, but I still think 2 or 3 is fine. What do you think of Bernardo Silva? He was a decent UCL Fantasy option in recent seasons, but not so much this time round. And with everyone available for Man City, I don't think Bernardo Silva starts every single game for them. So difficult. We'll see what the lineup is, but I'm not a big fan. I think Rodri, Foden and De Bruyne are better options in the midfield. Who to replace Hummels with? If you want a Borussia Dortmund defender, I'd say Maatsen or Schlotterbeck. Even Sula's decent. Is Mbappe going to play tomorrow? Of course he is. Keeper shouts, more difficult, but I'd say Ederson, Neuer, Sommer. I think those are my 3 favourites. Maybe Rye will be right after that. But yeah, I think Ederson and Neuer are my favourites. And another one is Lunin, who starts. It's already confirmed. So yeah, I think those are the best 5 goalkeepers you can go for. I'm currently on the Ederson wave, and I've talked about this in all of my videos. Best midfielder. Well, with Bellingham out, I'd probably say Saka is the best midfielder. Best inter midfielder, it's Calhanoglu. Definitely there, Sidindra. Hello, Dylan. Best replacement for Bellingham and Coman. Kalinoglu is definitely one to think about. I'm assuming you have Saka already. If you don't, that already solves the problem. But to give you another midfielder, I actually like Musiala or Kimmich from Bayern Munich if you want to go in a similar direction. Sane and Musiala, I just about put Musiala ahead of Sane. And look, Sane's been a fantastic UCL fantasy option over the years, but yeah, I think this season he's been a bit underwhelming. Choose one FPL UCL fantasy. I'd go for UCL fantasy. I think it's a bit more interesting. Yeah, there's just I think people are a bit more open-minded to going for something different. And generally speaking, the template isn't as strong as FPL. Man of the match prediction. Speaking of which, you might as well go to my squad. But yeah, okay. So now the overlays are working. Let me just see if I. Okay, maybe that will sort it. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I'm not sure why the overlays were bugging out earlier, but it's all sorted now, I think. In terms of viewers and likes, we do have almost 700 people watching, and we've already got 100 likes, so I appreciate those that have done it already. Let's try to get this to over 500 likes, so be sure to plug away if you haven't already. What I'm going to do very quickly is give a shout out to all the channel members and patrons, and like I said, if you are watching any channel members or patrons, I have bought in Mbappe. That's the only change I've made from the team that you've seen on there. I'll try to keep you posted and put an image up very soon. But big shout out to Alex Orlov, Federico Simos, Andres Suarez, Luis Alexander, Lovro Zuvic, Rodrigo Urias, Federico Caliso, new channel members including Exotic Log and Daniel Minicians, who became differentials before the stream began, Natalie S, El Padrino, Ben X Edits, Goldhead, Ala Madrid, Stephen, Fax, Bada, Jehan, Fruit Plug, Ananda, Unruly DMV, Tiggy Taylor, Mauro Rodriguez, Ventislav, Julio Peña, Diego Zamora, Aman, Jazabi, Farhad, Pablo Cordero, Lavinier, Joao Cabral, Simon Spears, Ulises, Kat, Keith as well, Bestie, Nathama, Birkan, Sergi, That FPL Eric, George Popescu, Alex Leadham, Gabriel Fernandez, and John Granquist. A massive shout out to all those channel members and patrons who help the channel to grow even further and keep us going. So thank you very much. And also to those that send in super chats, it's always greatly appreciated. Let me go back to your questions. Like I said, our aim is to get as close to 23k subscribers as possible by the end of the stream. And we will be streaming until kickoff. And that is when the deadline, of course, ends. And that is 9 p.m. Spanish time for me. And it will be 8 p.m. UK time, of course. So we've got 1 hour, 35 minutes left until things are locked in and we are good to go. Let's see what we have. So yeah, there's so many questions here. I do apologize if I can't get through every single one. Why Kalinoglu over Marcus Thuram? Yes, Thuram is playing our position as a striker, and I don't mind him so much. But if you look at his minutes throughout the Champions League this season, and you could argue Kalinoglu is the same, to be fair, what Thuram sometimes gets is these appearances off the bench. With Kalinoglu, he's going to start every single game. I think the only reason why he didn't in the group stages, there was 1 or 2 games where he was left out, is because Inter Milan had really important Serie A games, and they were very confident of progressing anyway with Benfica faltering. So I think Kalinoglu is just more nailed on. He's on penalties. He's very good for ball recoveries, and that's why I would go for him over Thuram. But I started the season with Thuram, and he is a decent option as well, more attacking and arguably more exciting. A double up, look, I always encourage people to be different. That is a nice idea, actually, and that could be the best way to cover Inter Milan offensively. But the only reason I'd say no for me is because they're facing Atletico Madrid, and if you've also got Sommer at the back, that could be very risky to load up on Inter Milan players. I've currently got 2, including Kalinoglu, but yeah, look, it's not the worst thing in the world, that's for sure. Is Hummels not going to play? It's difficult for me to say if he's going to play or not, because he normally is very nailed on. He started every single Champions League game, and he was starting every single match period before that illness, but ever since he returned, he's only come off the bench, and that is very concerning. But right now, I think Sula and Schlotterbeck are very likely to start. So that's my current guess, and that's why Hummels isn't in my squad right now. Xavi Simons will be good. I covered this. I'll try not to go through the same questions, by the way, but I do feature the comments on screen, and I also talk about them, so be sure to listen out for that. Best captain this match day. You have 4 different chances for the captaincy. 1 for today, 1 for tomorrow, and the same goes for next week on the Tuesday and Wednesday. Be aware of that. For me today, I think it's between Haaland and Vinicius. Tomorrow, I'd be looking at Mbappe and Kane. and overall, they're the 4 best captaincy options. Hakimi and Maatsen or Lucas Hernandez and Schlotterbeck. I would go for Hakimi and Maatsen. Where can I find lineups, guys? You can find them on the Twitter pages of these respective clubs. Madrid have already posted it, but also UEFA.com. If you go to their website and check the matches section, they put the lineups as soon as they're confirmed. Best midfielder for 13 million, not Saka. Well, there's no midfielder even close to that price tag in UCL Fantasy. I'd say De Bruyne if you want an expensive midfielder that isn't Saka. Inter versus Atletico Madrid prediction. I've gone for 1-0 Inter Milan currently. Will Rico Lewis start? I don't think so, but we'll find out very soon. Thank you, Keith, by the way, for moderating the chat. Welcome, William. If I lock my team, can I still change it? Once the deadline is gone, you will only be able to make substitutions and change the captaincy, but you will not be able to make transfers. So hopefully you're aware of that. I'm going to try to be quick, by the way, of course. I like to give detailed analysis and opinions, but because there are so many people, I'll try to be as quick as possible. So this says Kimmich or Zaire Emery or Yamal. Yamal's very interesting, I'm not going to lie. He's obviously on screen right now, but my favourite from those 3 is Zaire Emery. Maatsen, Schlotterbeck or Hummels. I'm currently going for Maatsen. Phobia Isaac TV says, hey Dylan, what's about Sancho? I have Kvaratskhelia at home against Barca. I'm not going to lie to you, I don't like either of them. I really don't. If you want a Borussia Dortmund attacker, I would go for Füllkrug. And for Napoli, I'd say Osimhen is slightly better than Kvaratskhelia. But honestly, I think there are better options than both. Yeah, Bellingham is injured. He's out. That's why he's not in the squad. He's aiming to be back for Matchday 8. We've covered all of that. And if you see anything as well, be sure to let me know in the live chat and I'll go through it very soon. Who would you downgrade in your team if you needed to make room for Mbappe? I'm 0.5 million short. Oh, yes. Who would I downgrade from my team? I actually had this question from a patron yesterday and we talked about it. So in order to get Mbappe, I think what I'd look to do potentially is maybe downgrade Edison and go towards a cheaper goalkeeper like Raya or even Lunin, I think, would be a nice option. And you cover Real Madrid defensively. So that is one very good way of doing it. Apart from that, let's say if Man City's lineup is out and we get Ake starting, you can go for Ake instead of Ruben Dias. That's another change you could make. Of course, there's so many different things you could do, but I think ultimately those are the 2 best ways to do it. You could even downgrade Hakimi and go to, let's say, maybe you go to Real Madrid defender instead. But yeah, I think just the best way to do it is Edison downgraded to Raya or Lunin. All right, let's go back to your questions, of course. No Mbappe is crazy. I've currently got him, like I said. It's very close between him and Vinicius for my team. And by the way, a big shout out to a new channel member, Rishi. Thank you very much for becoming a differential. Be sure to check out the community tab. You will see my team. The only change is Mbappe instead of Vinicius Jr. And also you can check out the best free hit team for Double Game Week 25. That's already up on the channel. It's been out since yesterday for channel members and it will be published tomorrow for every single person and subscriber. Which are the buying central defenders? There's also Upamecano. I'm not sure who's going to start. It's going to be 2 of those 3, but I'm not so sure who's going to be left out. If it was me personally, I'd leave out Dyer, but there are reports that Dyer will start. Foden or Zaire Emery, says Sudais. I'd go for Foden, but there is a big difference in price to take into account. Is Maatsen nailed? He's started every single game since joining Borussia Dortmund in January. I'd say so. No, it's not my 11, like I said. Because I'm trying to prevent copying. If it wasn't for that, I would happily show my team to everyone, of course. I will probably show it towards the very end, but I don't want to just have my team on screen for like 2 hours straight and people just copying and doing every single move I do. Sometimes there's hundreds or thousands of copycats. It gets that bad. Welcome, Juan. Good to see you. And look, it's just viewers and subscribers and stuff like that. Definitely nothing like fans, but I appreciate it. I actually have a lot of friends from Ecuador myself in my circle that live in the UK. So obviously Ecuador, very nice country. What more can I say? I might even go there one day. So big shout out to Ecuador and to you, Juan. Thank you very much. Will Hummels be playing? Look, normally I'd say yes, but based on the recent situation, coming off the bench so many times, I'm not so sure. I'm very, very concerned about that. No PSG. I don't think they're an elite team, to be honest. They are in good form, though. They're unbeaten since November. Their last loss was against AC Milan in the Champions League. But Yeah, look, I won't lie to you. I've got a few PSG players myself. It's either going to be 2 or 3 in my final squad. What 11 is this? It's a team that I made like that just on the fly to show some nice differentials like Yamal, for example. But my final team, of course, I'll show later. Alejandro, you know that's not going to be the case. Best Real Madrid defender. I'd rather go for Lunin in goal, if I'm being honest, but maybe Carvajal would be a nice option. They do have a lot of injuries though, so the key defenders like Alaba and Rudiger are out. Otherwise, they'd be my favourites. Yeah, I'd probably say Carvajal. What do you think about Fulkrug and Marlon? I actually saw, I was talking to a Borussia Dortmund fan yesterday in the comment section, and they prefer Marlon because he's more selfish. Fulkrug is a bit more selfless, and that can be very frustrating as the UCL Fantasy option. But if you're asking me, I'd probably slightly prefer Fulkrug. I don't think his ceiling is particularly high, but he can give you 5-6 points. Best midfielder, 5 to 7 million, not Emery and Kimmich. I would go for Rodri. Is Mbappe having ankle injury? I'm not sure you got that, but I don't think that's the case. Gracias, Juan. Hablo español en casa. Seguro que no es tan bueno como en inglés, pero es algo, por lo menos, y hablo dos idiomas. Vinicius or Mbappe? I'm currently going for Mbappe, but honestly, it's a bit of a mad one, not going to lie. Best Inter defender picks. Once again, might sound a bit not a great answer. I do prefer Sommer in goal, but if you want a defender, I'd probably look at Bastoni. DeMarco's normally a good one, but I do believe he's injured, if I'm not mistaken. I'll double check that now, but that is a bit of a concern. Let me just get up the Inter Milan injuries. So yeah, Serbi, Fratesi, and Quadrado are the 3 players who are injured. So DeMarco's fine. I think he picked up an injury a couple of weeks ago, but he's now good. Yeah, DeMarco is another one, but his minutes are a bit of a concern. But yeah, I'd probably just go for Bastoni. What do you think about Kobel? One of the high scoring, if not the high scoring goalkeeper so far. So not a bad option at all. I would rather go for Maatsen, Schlotterbeck, Sula, Hummels if he starts, but yeah, Kobel's a decent option, not going to lie. Foden and Vinicius or KDB and Rodrigo? Great question. I would probably go for Foden and Vinicius. De Bruyne better than Foden? Not for me, based on value. Not going to lie though, if De Bruyne starts consistently in the Champions League, he's a great option and I don't mind that at all. So he won't come to Tanzania? I'm not going to say never, but I don't know. I very much doubt it. I mean, I haven't been to that many countries in the first place. I generally go to the same ones, but I'm going to say never. Rune says, hey Dylan, your channel introduced me to UCL Fantasy this season. Really enjoy the different format and FPL. Could definitely learn a few things. Hope you're well. Thank you. I completely agree. And I genuinely think UCL Fantasy is better than FPL. I find both of them fun. And maybe I just naturally do better in UCL Fantasy. But yeah, I just think it's a more exciting game. By the way, I want to give a big shout out to a new channel member. If I can get this up. Anish, thank you very much for becoming a differential. Like I said, be sure to check out the best free hit team video for FPL. It's already out on the channel. And there's also my team. You can see all of it. The only change right now is Mbappe instead of Vinicius Jr. Martinelli a good option? Yeah, he's been quite good in the Champions League. Certainly more consistent than he has been in the Premier League, but I'm not going to lie. I just think there are better forwards elsewhere, but if you're looking for a differential, I certainly don't mind it at all. And there might be the odd benching here and there, but in the Champions League, I'd probably guess that Martinelli starts every single game. So yeah, I really like him still. Any nailed Man City defenders? Probably Ruben Dias in the Champions League. Thank you, Punjabi, as well. As he says, let's get this to 500 likes and beyond. And also, thank you to Haribo, as always, for the super chats. You don't have to, mate. I genuinely appreciate it. Hi, Dylan. I have DeMarco and Sommer and Hakan in midfield. Would like to get rid of DeMarco or Sommer, so I don't have too many Inter. Any thoughts? DeMarco and Sommer. Yeah, I think I'd get rid of DeMarco instead. Sommer is cheaper, and I do like him. I've currently got him myself. I'd rather get rid of DeMarco, mate. So I'd get rid of DeMarco for potentially Hakimi, also Maatsen. It just depends who you have already in the defense. You don't want to have too many triple ups defensively or double ups. But yeah, I think I'd get rid of DeMarco and keep Sommer. Alejandro, don't tell me you were the one who said in the first place. If so, you're an absolute troll. Kane or Mbappe? Generally, I'd say Kane this season, but I'm not going to lie, it's a close one. I'd probably go for Kane because he's been more consistent in the Champions League. Mbappe, he's blanked 3 times out of 6 matches in this competition, and his points haven't been great. 6 points is the most he's returned so far. Thank you, Alpha. Someone in the comment section recently said, "Do you have a new camera?" I'm like, no, it's just different lighting. I'm in a different place, so maybe I should just, maybe it's just a better setting than I have at home. Best buy an attacking midfielder, Dylan. For me, Musiala. Then it's Sane. Usually I put it the other way around and Son is my favourite, but I think Musiala just pips him. Hi, are you using any chips? If not, when? I've used both of them already, so I'm all out. You can't use, you can only use the Limitless or Wildcard once a season. You can't use them in Matchday 7, of course, because we have unlimited transfers, but the plan is basically nothing because I've got nothing left. Forward options, not Kane or Mbappe. Yeah, I did cover your question, mate. So Vinicius Jr. is probably the best one, especially he's also a differential. Another one is Haaland, of course, but I wouldn't really class him as a differential or an alternative. Anything else? I do like Jesus, and he should be back for the Porto game. There's also Griezmann, who you had, you had him already. But I'd say Vinicius Jr. is definitely the best one. Calhanoglu, a great option. I think he's decent. He was quite disappointing for me earlier in the season, I'm not going to lie, but I do think he's a good one. Will Diaz not get a tactical yellow this game so he can serve a suspension in the second leg? Then his yellow card suspension tally will be fully reset for the next stages of the tournament. That's a good point. There's actually a few players at risk of being suspended. So let me go through all the players, the key ones that are out, either doubtful or suspended. So in terms of those that are ruled out, Morata, Courtois, Militao, Alaba, Rudiger, and Bellingham. So a lot from Real Madrid. In terms of those that are also out, that are doubtful, Neuer, Mazzari, Gvardiol, Kovacic, Kang-in Lee, and Lima from Bayern Munich. But Neuer and Mazzari should be fine, and I think they'll be in the squad. Neuer will probably start the game tomorrow as well. Suspended players include Raga and Jalert. And in terms of those that are one yellow card away from suspension, Ruben Dias is one. You've also got João Mario, Pepe, and Cardoso. From Inter Milan, we've got Assalini, Mkhitaryan, and Lautaro Martinez. From Leipzig, we've got Simikan and Henriks. We've also got Vavro and Melling from Copenhagen. From Sociedad, there's Zubeldia and Merino. From Dortmund, both Schlotterbeck and Hummels are one yellow card away from suspension. Then we've got Davis and Goretzka, Castellanos, Patrick, Guendouzi, Pedro. Hakimi is one, and I've currently got him. Skriniar, Lucas Hernandez, and Ugarte. Araujo, Felix, Roberto, and Ferran Torres. Boscagli, Ramalho, Camavinga, and Bellingham also are at risk. So, a lot of players are walking the tightrope. So that's a good point you make there, Tech. I think that's a good point. And by the way, I think we've got another member. Let me just go through that. Thank you, Gabriel R, for becoming a differential. Massively appreciated. Like I said, be sure to check out the community tab, and you'll have exclusive content for you as well. Lazio Bayern Munich predicted lineup. Thank you, Punjabi. I'll go through that now. I did see one yesterday. That's the one that I saw yesterday from Kicker. And they don't have Upamecano. There was another one I saw which didn't feature Kim Min-jae. Instead, it was Upamecano. So that is a bit of a concern. So let's go through this very quickly. I don't want to say anything about the internet. I don't want to jinx it. So for Bayern Munich, this is a predicted lineup. Thank you, Punjabi, for sending it again. Neuer, Guerrero, Dyer, Kim Min-jae, Mazzari, Goretzka, Kimmich, Musiala, Müller, Sane, and Kane. I did actually highlight this earlier. Müller is expected to start tomorrow, and it looks like Tuchel is counting on that experience to get him out of this bad situation they're currently in. To be honest, in the grand scheme of things, Bayern are doing quite well, but they are struggling in the Bundesliga with Bayer Leverkusen taking the world by storm. One of the most informed teams in Europe. But that's quite interesting. When Lazio, you're not really too interested with their assets, but Provadel's decent, Immobile as well. And that's pretty much it in my opinion. But let's go back to my team right here. Yeah, all good. Like I said, later on, I'll show you my definitive 15-man squad for UCL Fantasy. And thank you to those that have liked the video already. Let's get this stream to over 500. It costs nothing, and it's greatly appreciated. It pushes up the algorithm. And also a huge shout out to those that send in super chats and the new channel members today. It's massively appreciated. Let's see. Runa says you're glowing. Yeah, it's not a great thing. I've pretty much got sunburn. That's the thing. Very sensitive skin. Best City defender in UCL Fantasy, I'd say Ruben Diaz. But as Tech mentioned, he's one yellow card away from suspension. Yeah, look, Di Lorenzo is fine. From Napoli, I think he's the best option. Then you're looking at Osimhen. But I'm not going to go there because I think with Napoli and Barcelona, both off-form teams, very inconsistent this season. I think Napoli are 7th in Serie A the last time I checked, so they really are struggling. Rodrigo or Vinicius Jr.? Vinicius. As a Madrid fan, I'm afraid to have Madrid defense or goalie. Leipzig is really good offensively. Leipzig have struggled recently, but they always score goals, even when they get battered. So I do share your sentiment. But Lunin's a fine option. I'm not going for him. Right now, I'm not going for him, but he's a decent option. Gracias, Diego. Saludos a México también y para vos. Hi, what do you think about Maatsen? He's currently in my team. I do like him. He's just a bit of a yellow card magnet in recent games, but he gets assists and he can get some ball recoveries potentially. Let's keep an eye out for that. Best replacement for Bellingham, Kalinoglu. No, it's not my team. Like I said, I'll try to show it later on because I do want to show it to people, but I'm trying to prevent mass copying. That's literally the only reason why. When's a good time from now to use your chips? Good question. I'd say the Limitless in Matchday 8 if possible, and the Wildcard in Matchday 9 or 11. Why Schlotterbeck over Hummels? Hummels hasn't started a single game since returning from his illness. I'm currently going in a different direction with Borussia Dortmund defenders with Maatsen, but Schlotterbeck is a decent alternative. He's definitely going to start in my opinion. Then it's a question of Sula or Hummels for the other centre-back slot for me. I'm guessing you're saying Bernardo. I covered this earlier. Not for me. I'd rather... Look, he has been a good UCL fantasy option in the past, but this season he's been quite underwhelming. I'd rather go for Foden, Rodri, and De Bruyne. Wow Jintu says, who is a good pick for midfield from Real Madrid? Brahim Diaz this week. Definitely a nice one-week punt. Besides that, I'm not a big fan of the other options. I'd rather go for Rodrigo or Vinicius up front. But yeah, I'd say Brahim Diaz this week. What are the best centre-backs at 5 million? Well, we've got Maatsen at 4.5. There's also Upamecano and Kim Min-jae. One of them could be benched though, so be careful about that. I'd say Ake if he starts today, and we're probably going to find out very soon if we haven't already. Carlos Mario says, ¿Qué piensas de este medio? Foden, Saka, Musiala, Zaire, Emery y Rodri. Me gusta mucho, es muy parecido a lo que tengo yo. No tengo a Musiala o Rodri, pero lo demás lo tengo yo. Sí, me gusta mucho y con Rodri es una buena opción a largo plazo. Y con Musiala, él hizo su primer gol en la Champions en contra Lazio hace algunos años. Let's see, there's a few questions from members that I want to get through. Yeah, Exotic Log, it's not my final team. Check out the community tab on my channel and you will see what my team currently is. The only change I've made is Mbappe instead of Vinicius. Odegaard or Brahim Diaz, says Miguel. Brahim Diaz. I'd go for him as a one-week punt. Musiala or Yamal? Musiala. One City defender? I'm going to go for one City defender and probably Edison in goal. That's my current plan. Zinchenko fitness status, please. Well, there were reports that he could be back for the West Ham game. That wasn't the case. I don't think the injury is too serious, and apparently Arsenal are expecting everyone to be available by the end of the month, which is a massive boost. But if Zinchenko comes back, you've also got Timber and Tomiyasu as well, and Zinchenko could ultimately find himself being third fiddle as left back. Musiala or Sane? Augusto or DeMarco? Sommer or Kobel, that is. Musiala for me, although it's still a close one. I would go for DeMarco, and the last one, I prefer Sommer. How do I become a differential member? There is a join button next to my logo. Obviously, it might be different depending on what device you're using and stuff like that, but there's the join button there, and then you can become a differential. I haven't never done stuff like that myself in terms of YouTube channel memberships, but there is a link in the description below as well, and you can just click that, and it automatically takes you to the membership page. Any Real Sociedad recommended? Bryce Mendes is an option. I also like Ramiro still as a cheap goalkeeper. Apart from that, Zubaldi is decent, but he's one yellow card away from suspension, and he's facing PSG away. Can we keep editing teams after locking in early? Yeah, look, once you've made a squad, you can continue to edit it until the deadline, which is in 1 hour and 30 minutes time. Once that deadline is locked in, though, you can only make substitutions and change the captaincy during the substitution window. Opinions on Yamal? He scored the brace in the last game, and overall he's doing pretty well for Barcelona, a shining light in an otherwise dismal season for them. But I'm not going to lie, that Napoli fixture, I mean, to be fair, Napoli haven't been great themselves, but it's quite a tough one to call. I think it could be a high-scoring draw in Matchday 7, and I think Yamal's a nice differential. I don't mind him at all, but I do think there are better options elsewhere. Yep, Saka is in my team. Does Lewis start? I don't think so, but we're going to find out in 12 minutes or less, so let's wait and see. Will you back David Raum? No. He's facing Real Madrid. I don't see a clean sheet in either leg, so the answer is no. And to be fair with Raum, he's good for ball recoveries and assists, so he's still a good option, but I'd rather go for defenders from better defenses and who have a good chance of progressing to the quarterfinals and beyond. Yeah, Kobo is a good keeper option. We've talked about him before. Don't let me discourage you or anything, but I'd rather go in a different direction. Thank you, Punjabi and the others who have told me and reminded me that Man City's lineup is out. Gabriel R says, I have Sommer and need a second goalkeeper with 5.9 million left. Yeah, I think Kobo's fine, but I would rather go for Raya, Lunin, or Manuel Neuer. I think those three are slightly ahead of Kobo for me. Gracias to Nelson as well. I'll go for the lineup right now, just trying to see if there are any other members that I haven't been able to answer questions of. I think Goldhead had something, but it's been lost in the sea of questions. So I do apologize for that. But thank you, Gabriel, for becoming a differential, like I said. Also, Mauro says, siempre hablando en inglés para FPL. Se me había olvidado que hablas español. Es importante destacar que si hay tarjeta roja no se permite sustitución. Sí, es perfecto. Y me pasó una vez con Wan-Bissaka en contra Young Boys en la jornada 1. Hace 2 o 3 años, sí, es una locura. Y cuando me di cuenta, me empecé a reír, pero bueno. Let's see what else we have. I do apologize for not being able to get through everything. I would love to, but yeah, it is a tough ask today. Very tough one. So Goldhead said I meant transfers. Where is your previous question? I'm trying to find it, mate, but I just can't see it. It's a bit annoying. Yeah, Goldhead, if I can see your question, I will go to it, but I honestly haven't seen what you put. I've lost it, unfortunately. So let's go to the Man City lineup. Let's go to the UEFA website. So this is the Real Madrid and Leipzig team. So just to recap, Lunin in goal, Carvajal, Nacho, Vinicius Jr., Cruz, Rodrigo, Camavinga, Valverde, Tchouameni, Brahim Diaz, Mendy. And for Leipzig, we've got Glashi, Simikan, Orban, Olmo, Klosterman, Openda, Simmons, Raum, Schlager, Sheshko, and Henriks. And for Man City versus Copenhagen, okay, it's not up here yet. Yeah, don't try to copyright me, UEFA. Let's get into the Man City lineup then. So it's on City Extra, I think it was, you lot said. So just give me a second whilst I get it up. Thank you for those that pointed me in that direction. Yes, all right. Here we go. Okay, so far so good. Yeah, Ederson in goal, Walker, Stones, Diaz, Ake, Rodri, De Bruyne, Foden, Bernardo Silva, Haaland, and Grealish. So, yeah, no Doku. Bernardo's starting, so for those of you that want to go there, not a bad option. But Ake does start, and now, is he going to play both games in double game at 25 in FPL? I talked about this in the Transtips video yesterday. I'm not so sure about that, but Stones does start. Gavardio misses out. Same goes for Kovacic. They're the only 2 players missing for Manchester City. Alvarez is on the bench, so maybe those that have him in FPL, that is quite encouraging heading into double game at 25. But yeah, with Man City, maybe 1 or 2 surprises, but the core of it is what you'd expect. I've actually got 4 Man City players currently, and they are all starting. Yeah, so it's all looking good. Very strong lineup there from Man City, of course, and they are the favourites to progress. There's no doubt about that. We've got almost 1,000 people watching, by the way. Massively appreciate. Let's get this stream to over 500 likes. We're currently on over 200, so let's keep on pushing in the next hour or so. That'd be greatly appreciated. And I'm going to try whiz through these questions and do even better with the responses. Is Rice a good option, Dylan? I think he's decent with ball recoveries, but even then you've got Kimmich and Rodri, so I think there are much better options elsewhere. Why not Foden? I've currently got him. Does Kim Min-jae start? I can't tell you that. I honestly don't know. I wish we could find out before the deadline because I think Bayern Munich defenders are a bit difficult to predict. Thuram or Brahim Diaz? I'd go for Diaz as a one-week punt. Estoy ganando mi liga con este canal. Gracias, Wilson. Me alegro escucharlo y vamos a ver si puedes ganarlo al final. Stones, Diaz or Ake? They are starting for Man City. Good question. I'm not going to lie. I also want to think a bit long-term with this. And with Diaz, he's the most nailed on in the Champions League for me. But he's also one yellow card away from suspension. So I might go in the direction of Ake. Like I said in Spanish earlier, I speak Spanish at home. It's one of my languages. My parents are from South America, but my English is still way better. Goldhead says, I meant editing the team. Can we confirm transfers now? Yeah, I answered that at the beginning of the response I gave. And yes, you can. Of course you can. It's just like FPL. Well, yeah, whenever you have unlimited transfers in FPL, UCL Fantasy, yeah, that's the way it goes. Maatsen, best defense or not? I don't think he's the best defender, but from Dortmund, I definitely put him up there. Which defender to pick from them? Yeah, I'd probably go for Ake as a one-week kind of option, but I'm not sure about long-term. Vinicius or Mbappe, we've covered. Brahim Diaz or Kimmich? Kimmich. Which one is the best? Rodri, Yamal, Simmons, or Olmo? I would go for Rodri long-term. Struggling to come up with 5 defenders, yeah, I don't blame you. I'm also in that boat. I think that's the most difficult position to nail down. Thank you, Saulito. I'm definitely not, but I appreciate it. Goldhead says, had Mbappe for the group stage is disappointing. Will be selling for Vinicius or Rodrigo. Yeah, Vinicius is definitely the standout there. Kimmich or Brahim Diaz? Covered, sorry. Best under 5 million defenders. Maatsen. Zubeldia is a decent choice. There's probably a few more that I'm most likely going to forget, but they definitely spring to mind. Mbappe, Rodrigo, Vinicius. Which one should I pick? It's between Vinicius and Mbappe for me. I'm currently on Mbappe, but I might change that if I'm being honest. Valverde as centre mid. Yeah, decent option in UCL Fantasy, but I'd rather go for Diaz as a one-week punt. And also, in terms of long-term picks in the midfield, I think Rodri and Kimmich are better. Why not Walker instead of Ake? I think Ake is better for ball recoveries and attacking potential. Which one is the best? We've covered. Why a lot of Man City players? Well, I'm definitely going for 3 or 4, and that's because they're facing Copenhagen. They're the favourites for the Champions League. I expect them to go far, and they've got good UCL Fantasy options. The only concern is the rotation. Do we get 4 captains, 1 for each match day? Yes, of course. Only 1 captain ends up counting as your captain. So if you captain Haaland today, then you change it to Kane tomorrow, then your captaincy points from Haaland are lost, of course. That goes without saying. But you have 4 opportunities at the captaincy. Cylindra says 1, Foden and Kimmich, or 2, KDB and Rice, or 3, Foden, KDB, Rodri. I'd go for number 3. Number 1 is also good. I think the second option is the worst. ¿Esta es tu lineup final del fantasy? No, no es mi equipo final. Solo hay 2 o 3 jugadores que tengo en este momento. Y todavía hay algunas cosas para hacer, pero sí me falta todavía para asegurarlo. What do you mean with covered? When I talk about coverage, it's about covering a certain team. So having an option to maybe have from that certain team defensively. So maybe to cover Bayern Munich, for example, I will go for Kim Min-jae. Something like that. Thank you, Dave, for moderating the chat. Any spamming like that is just going to be dealt with. Zaire Emery or Brahim Diaz? Zaire Emery is my favourite. Rodri's not bad, but I'd go for Zaire Emery. Dylan, can I bring in a 14th of February player from the bench? Yes, you definitely can. I always talk about this and make it a point in my videos for people who are new to the game or that are unsure about the rules. Yes, you can do that. Best defense, not Maatsen. I wrote it wrong last time. Oh, not Maatsen. Okay, my bad. Either way, I don't think he's the best. I think he's good value. I'd say, in no particular order, I'd say either Kim Min-jae or Upamecano. I'd go for a City defender. So you can take your pick from those that are starting today. Go for your favourite. I'd maybe go for Ake or Ruben Diaz. I'd also look at Hakimi. Cancelo is still a good option. Same with Di Lorenzo, despite playing in poor defensive teams this season and very inconsistent ones at that. Saliba as well is very underrated in this game. Thank you, Cylindra. I appreciate that as well. And also to the Super Chats and members. So Julio Peña has been a member for 16 months. Now that Ake is starting, should I do Vinicius and Walker or Ake and Mbappe? Yeah, I remember you put this question yesterday in the comment section, and I did go for Vinicius and Walker, and I did say I don't think Ake starts, but I got that wrong. I'd probably go for... I'm not going to lie, I think Ake is marginally better than Walker based on ball recoveries, but then it's Vinicius or Mbappe, and I'm very torn between those two. I'll probably stick with my original answer and say Vinicius and Walker, but I'm very, very conflicted about that. And thank you, oh my god, that's incredible, for the very generous super chat. Thank you very much, mate. What is Galeno's potential for goals and assists, or instead go for Calhanoglu Diaz? Well, Galeno is the highest scoring player in UCL Fantasy, but most of his returns have come against Shakhtar Donetsk. And against Arsenal, one of the best teams in Europe, at least defensively, it might be a tougher ask. And I think Porto could shock Arsenal in Matchday 7 and get a win there. And Galeno is obviously going to be a big part of that if that were to be the case. But I'd honestly rather go for Calhanoglu or Diaz. I'm not going to lie to you. I think that's the better play. Yeah, Acerbi is injured. I think the other two for Inter Milan are Cuadrado and Fratesi. Everyone else is available. Is Fulkrug a good option over Mbappe or Kane? No. So let me separate the two. Fulkrug is a decent option, but would I go from over Mbappe or Kane? No chance. Akash, welcome. Good to see you. Best 5 minutes for round of 16. Check out all my videos, the best team, my team selection, and you'll pretty much see what I believe. So to kind of say it kind of quickly, I'd say Calhanoglu, Saka, Foden. I'd say Kimmich is also another one, and Zaire Emery. You also have to take into account having the funds to then have an optimal front three. If you want to go for another expensive midfielder, then you can go for De Bruyne or Musiala as well. Foden or Rodri, I'd go for Foden, mate. I'd go for Foden. Brahim Diaz, I like him for 1 week, and you can always swap into him Bellingham in Matchday 8. I have both Hummels and Maatsen. Should I take one out for Ake? I'd take out Hummels, I think. There is a doubt about him starting. Vinicius Jr. or Mbappe? I've been asked this question to death. It's a really difficult question, and I'm currently not settled on it. I'm currently on Mbappe, but I think a late switch back to Vinicius Jr. is possible. I've been switching between those two for the last couple of days. It's very close. We do have over 900 people watching, by the way. We talked about the lineups already. Be sure to drop a like on this video as well and get the stream to over 500. It'd be greatly appreciated. I'm now going to put a poll. It's a very popular question today, and I think it's best to put it to you, the viewers, in terms of determining who is better between Mbappe and Vinicius Jr. So let me put that up very quickly. So who would you captain? Let me just put that very quickly. No, who would you captain? Well, you can do that later, actually, but who do you prefer? We'll put Mbappe and Vinicius Jr. All right, so there we go. Just a quick one. Very simple, popular question. Who do you prefer, Vinicius Jr. or Mbappe? Be sure to vote and let me know. Goldhead says, KDB 3% owned and is returning every game since he's played since returning. Is he flying under the radar? Yeah, to be fair, he is. I mentioned this in the FPL video yesterday. Even off the bench, he's getting assists and getting attack and returns. So I have to say, KDB is definitely very enticing. If I were to change my structure and maybe go for a cheaper forward to facilitate KDB in the midfield, I wouldn't rule that out completely, to be honest. I think it's a decent shout, to be fair. Yeah, any kind of spam questions won't be answered. Try not to do that. I don't want to time people out or ban people. Fortunately, I'm not even able to moderate the chat right now. Don't know why. It's got to check that out. Kane or Mbappe? As I mentioned earlier, because Kane has been better in the Champions League this season and more consistent, I'm going to go for Kane still. Is Saka a good pick? Of course he is, and he covers next week's options. Vinicius all day for me, fair enough, and he is currently leading the vote. I think Mbappe, one positive about him is that he's at home. But Real Sociedad have a good defensive record. I think it's 4 clean sheets out of the last 5 matches, if not 6, whilst Leipzig are quite poor defensively. So yeah, and also when you break it down, Vinicius Jr. hasn't blanked this season. Mbappe's blanked 3 times out of 6. Vinicius Jr. I think has the highest points per game of any player in this season's Champions League. Not only that, Real Madrid are much more likely to advance, to the semi-finals and beyond compared to Paris Saint-Germain. So yeah, I think Vinicius Jr. is maybe slightly the better option. I had the both option. Fair enough, but the point of it was to yeah, to help people determine who's better between those two. I think most will be going for Mbappe, Haaland, and Kane. So if you were to go for Vinicius, it's between him and Mbappe, unfortunately. Ake over Kim. It's something I'm considering, I'm not going to lie, or I'm going to sell Ruben Dias instead and go for Nathan Ake. I think that might be the play. It might put me in an awkward situation for Matchday 8 and beyond, though, because I'm not so sure if Ake will start every single Champions League match. It could be Gvardiol instead at left back once he returns, so a bit of a problem. Foden captain. Look, I don't mind going for something different because if it doesn't go that well, you've got another chance tomorrow and then 2 more opportunities next week. So Foden's not my favourite, but I don't mind that, to be honest. I think it's definitely worth a punt. Mbappe or Haaland, I would go for Haaland. The real question is Vinicius or Kane. Mbappe and Haaland are set. Yeah, I mean, you could argue. I think most people would say it the other way, but tricky. I think I'd still go for Harry Kane. Would you double up defensively for any team? Man City, definitely. So Ederson in goal and maybe Ake, Ruben Dias in the defense. Take your pick. Carvajal or Lucas Hernandez? Carvajal. Evening Dylan, been a long time. Saka plus Hakimi or KDB plus up to 5.3 defender and who? Tricky one, but I'd go for Saka and Hakimi. Apologies. Foden or Odegaard or Saka? Saka. Marcus Thuram? Yeah, look, Thuram is a good option. If you want an Inter Milan midfielder, it's either Calhanoglu or Thuram. My slight preference is Calhanoglu. Have Ake, Silva, Haaland good? Yes, but I'm not going to lie to you. I do think Foden is better than Silva, and also Rodri is better. Capitán para la jornada el 20 de febrero. En mi caso sería Calhanoglu en este momento. También si tienes un defensor de Borussia Dortmund, también puedes ir por Madsen o alguien así, pero yo prefiero poner como capitán un mediocampista. My forwards are Haaland, Kane and Evanilson. I'm not going to lie, Evanilson has been decent in the Champions League, but I don't think it's worth going for him as the third forward. Maybe you're expecting Porto to shock Arsenal, and it wouldn't surprise me if they did for the first leg, but I'm not so sure if it's worth it. Thoughts on Di Lorenzo and Lucas Hernandez? I'm more keen on Di Lorenzo. And to be fair with Lucas Hernandez, you know, a home fixture, decent chance for a clean sheet. But yeah, I just think with Di Lorenzo, he's an all-rounder. He can get so many points from different avenues. So assists, goals, man of the match awards, you name it, ball recoveries. Top 7 mids this week. KDB, Foden, Saka, Calhanoglu. I would say Musiala. Who else is there? I'm probably forgetting quite a few. Zaire Emery is another good one. Also, a lot of value that he offers. Yeah, those would be right up there. Probably mentioned 6th. I'm probably missing 1 or 2 more names, but those spring to mind. Vinicius or Haaland captain? Haaland, but I don't mind going for something different with Vinicius, to be fair. Which teams to target? For me, Real Madrid, Man City, then the likes of Bayern Munich, Arsenal, even PSG potentially, but Real Sociedad knocking up PSG wouldn't surprise me at all. Irish BVB, welcome. Hi Dylan, like your team. Gone a bit different with Mbappe, Simmons, Saka, Zaire Emery, Matson, Saliba and Hakimi. With Raul's injuries, I think Simmons could have a good game. He's been super this year. Yeah, I had Xavi Simmons earlier in the season. He was very good for me. Very consistent. And in terms of players that you expect to be eliminated, I think Xavi Simmons is one of the best ones. Now, what you see on screen isn't my team. It's kind of a team of differentials with Yamal, who might be very interesting, but I'm going for something different. If you saw my team selection video and the best team, you have a good idea of what I'm looking to go for, but I'm trying to prevent mass copying. Let's see what else we have. How are you going, bro? Hope all is well. Thank you, Godson. Likewise to you. Copenhagen will surprise and get a draw. I mean, I wouldn't mind that from a non-fantasy perspective, but if I go for 3 or 4 Man City players, that could be a big problem. Saka or Kimmich or Zaire Emery? Saka. Is Haller good? He's okay, but once again, I go back to it. You know, there's so many good forwards in the game. So in terms of mid-priced forwards, you've got Lautaro Martinez and Rodrigo, Openda, Gabriel Jesus, Martinelli. And then you've got all the premiums that are fantastic. So I wouldn't go for Haller. KDB over Haaland? Not for me, but KDB is a very underrated option this week, like Goldhead said. And I'd be open to buying him in, actually. Is this defense good, Dylan? Hakimi, Matson, Kim Min-jae, Saliba, Ake. Yes. There is a slight chance that Kim Min-jae is benched, and I'm a bit concerned about him, but if he starts, really good for ball recoveries, and that's a solid defense. Top 5 defenders, check out my best team and team selection videos. I cover it there, but Saliba, let's say Hakimi now, would also enter the equation. A Man City defender like Ruben Dias, and I'd also put Kim Min-jae and probably a Borussia Dortmund defender like Matson. I think that's the way to go. Hopefully I haven't repeated any names, by the way. If so, I'll blame the sun. Goldhead says, I'm buying Haaland, Vinicius, Ake, Schlotterbeck, Kobel, Lunin, Emery, and Upamecano, Saka. Last mid spot is between Rodri, Diaz, Grealish. Interesting punt, 2% owned. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan of Grealish, but it's a differential, and if it doesn't pay off, you've got the substitutions to make up for it. Orani says, Fulcro, Haaland, Kane, ¿qué piensas? Me gusta debido a que puedo hacerlos capitán uno cada día. Sí, entiendo eso, pero también con Fulcro, si ves los puntos que hizo esta temporada, que hizo 5 o 6, pero no hace más de eso. Y no me gusta eso con una opción de capitán. Y también tienes alternativas como los jugadores de Inter Milán o un defensor de Borussia Dortmund que puedes poner como capitán en el 20 de febrero. Y también tienes a Saka en el 21. Así que, en mi opinión, es mejor ir por otro delantero que Fulkrug, pero no es una mala opción. Bellingham replacement, Calhanoglu, as I mentioned before, but it all depends on who you have already. Thank you, Irish BBB. Yeah, look, there's a lot of people who hate it, but it's mainly people who want to copy, and they obviously, you know, sometimes get aggressive, but it's literally thousands, sometimes hundreds at least, sometimes thousands that literally copy my team move for move, and I don't want that, to be honest. I think UCL Fantasy, one of the reasons why it's more interesting than FPL is because the template isn't that strong, and people go for different picks. Nacho, Kim Min-jae. Kim Min-jae. Xavi Simons viable this week? Yes, of course he is. Real Madrid players to get: Vinicius Jr., Rodrigo, Brahim Diaz, and Lunin. I'd probably rank Lunin ahead of Brahim Diaz. I think as a longer-term pick, he's better. Do you think Dyer is nailed? No. But a lot of lineups I've seen do have him starting in Matchday 7. I ultimately think you've also got De Ligt, you've got Upamecano and Kim Min-jae. I think they're the 3 best centre-backs that Bayern Munich have. Cheapest defender? Well, Matson would be one of the cheaper ones. He's not the cheapest you can get, but in terms of a starter from a decent team with a good fixture, I think Matson is the answer. Hummels or Schlotterbeck? Probably Schlotterbeck based on the fact that Hummels hasn't started a single game since returning from illness. Hey Dylan, Upamecano or Guerrero? I'd probably go for Upamecano, but I'm not even sure if he starts. Thoughts on Tchouameni? Decent for ball recoveries, I guess, but I think there are better options in the midfield. Rodrigo for Fulkrug, yeah, I think that's an upgrade. Saka or Calhanoglu? Saka. That's covered, by the way. Be sure to rewind a bit. Which 2 of Diaz, Calhanoglu, and Kimmich? I would go for Calhanoglu and Kimmich. Welcome, Kirati, sorry. There's people from all over: Ecuador, Thailand, Tanzania, you name it. Dylan, Openda or Kane? Kane. Does Fran Garcia still start for Madrid? He's on the bench. We covered the lineups earlier. Garcia doesn't start games really for Real Madrid, despite all the injuries they have. Carvajal or Mendy? Probably Carvajal. Kvaratskhelia for Bellingham, a good move. I'm not a big fan of Kvaratskhelia. I bought him in Matchday 6 and I immediately regretted it. He's been very inconsistent. And look, maybe he has one big haul in him, especially against Barcelona, but I'm not so sure. Only reason I like Grealish is because not only do I see City absolutely dominating them, but Copenhagen have been susceptible from the wings versus United and Galatasaray, and City love their crosses. That's a fair, analysis and pick. And also Goldhead, I'm not sure if you saw, but towards the beginning of the stream, I covered some different news. Copenhagen haven't played an official match since the Champions League in December, so maybe their rustiness could be another added bonus for Man City players. Simmons or somebody else? I like Simmons, but I'd rather go for Kimmich, Rodri, Zaire Emery, Calhanoglu. I think they're all better at a similar price. Kimmich or Rodri? I'd say Kimmich. Calhanoglu, Galeno or Thuram? Calhanoglu. Guatemala, says Sebastian as well. I'm going with double Arsenal defence, Saliba and Gabriel with their aerial presence and Porto being in poor form. Do you think it's a good play? Yeah, it's also differential. There's also Raya and goal that you can go for, but yeah, I think that's absolutely fine. Saliba in particular is a very good UCL fantasy option because he's 5.5 million and he gets more ball recoveries. Cheap forward, I'd say Openda or Krug, as a lot of people mention, is a good choice, but yeah, they're probably the two best so-called cheaper picks. What goalkeepers would you captain? I'm guessing they're saying I'm not a big fan of captaining goalkeepers, but if I was ever to do one, it would be Summer on the 20th, but that's only if I sell Kalanoglu. Hello, Dylan. Wish that you're doing great. Thank you, Mohammed. Likewise to you. Kalanoglu or Thuram? Thuram's expected goals, I'm guessing that's expected GI, not the goals conceded, is nearly triple Kalanoglu's, but Kalanoglu has pens and better expected minutes. Yeah, I covered this before when you made some points about that earlier with Thuram being out of position. Kalanoglu for me, because he also gets ball recoveries, which can give him 4 points or more every single match day. Diaz or Stones, already own Ake? Diaz, but one more yellow and he's suspended, as Tech mentioned earlier. Kimmich or Musiala? I'd go for Kimmich because he's cheaper and he's more consistent, but Musiala is a good choice. I really like him. Kane or Rodrigo? Kane. PSG is a shark in the league, but a worm in Champions League. Only pick Emery as a differential and possible captaincy option for that day. No other PSG players. Wow. Yeah, look, I'm not a big fan of PSG, and typically they reached around the 16 or quarterfinals. And yeah, look, they still have some good UCL Fantasy options, Mbappe, Hakimi, and Zaire Emery. But beyond those three, I think Skriniar is the only one I'd consider. Rodrigo plus Odegaard, Sane, or Kane plus Foden? Kane and Foden. Gustav says Zaire Emery versus Diaz. Zaire Emery. Captain Haaland or Foden? Haaland. Yeah, I'll try to show my team very soon, like I said, but I'm trying to prevent mass copying. That's literally the only reason why I'm delaying it. Sudindra says Kimmich, Rice, and a 4.7 million midfielder. Sorry, defender. If so, who? Or Kim Min-jae, a Serbi, and a 6.3 million midfielder other than Zaire Emery? I would go for Kimmich and a 4.7 million defender like Maatsen. I think that would be my pick. Yeah, Zaire Emery should play. He was benched a few times in the last couple of matches, but he got an assist in the last game, actually, in a 3-1 victory for PSG. Raya or Lunin? Tricky, but I'd probably go for Lunin. Vinicius or Griezmann? Vinicius. KDB or Haaland for captain? I'm a bit tempted by KDB, I'm not going to lie to you. I think the last time Man City played Copenhagen, KDB got a return. But then Man City went down to 10 men. And actually something I've noticed is that whenever we captain, let's say, Kane against Copenhagen away, or even at home, and also Erling Haaland a few years ago, maybe even last year, against Copenhagen, they just end up blanking. So, yeah, I think KDB is actually a really nice shout. If I had him, I'd be very tempted to captain. Is KDB necessary or is Saka fine? Saka's absolutely fine. Thuram or Rodri? Rodri. Hey Dylan, is Sane 19 GA not better than Musiala? Yeah, true. I just think in the Champions League, Sane's been very underwhelming, but typically Sane's very good in this fantasy format. In the last couple of seasons for me, he's been the best midfielder alongside Salah and Vinicius when he was classed as a midfielder. Is Hummels a good option? If he starts, yes, but is he going to start? I'm not so sure. He hasn't started any game since returning from illness. Kang In Lee or Brahim Diaz? Brahim Diaz. Kang In Lee is actually a doubt because he just came back from the Asian Cup. So I wouldn't go there. Best defense for this week? Man City defenders, take your pick from there. Ake could be one. Saliba, Kim Min-jae. I'd also say Hakimi is up there. Dylan, your prediction in Napoli versus Barca? Napoli to pit Barca or other way around? I'd go for Barca, but I think the first game will either be a Napoli win or a draw. And I think Barcelona take it at the Camp Nou. Kimmich or Kalanoglu? Probably Kimmich, but very close one. Maatsen is a very good option if you can't get Hummels or Schlotterbeck. Great tackler, great crossing, and 2 assists in 5 games so far. Only 4.5 million. Great analysis, I completely agree. I think he's got 2 or 3 yellow cards, though, in 5 games, which is a bit concerning, but good choice. Not necessarily Luka, because you might be going for De Bruyne instead, and he's got Copenhagen away, so not really. And most of Saka's returns have come at the Emirates, but you might want him for Matchday 8 and beyond if Arsenal progress. Sane or Foden? I would go for Foden. In the predicted lineup, I saw Musiala on the left and Muller as Cam because reports were Sane didn't fully train. Yes, that's true. I forgot about that. Sane didn't fully train a couple of days ago, and a lot of players, I think Mazzari and Neuer were rested yesterday, but they trained today. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I forgot about that. It's kind of weird, you know. I'm not even sure what the new stadium is called. What about the UCL predictor? Yes. Thank you for reminding me. Once I saw the. By the way, yeah, I'm still on the screen. What am I doing on the Man City lineup still? Let's go to the predictor. Let's go to the predictor and talk about. Yeah, so my predictions. I've gone for 3-0 Man City, and I put the player of the match on De Bruyne. He doesn't have a face for some reason, but yeah, I've gone for De Bruyne. And I also put the booster, the kind of captaincy on my prediction. I also went for 3-1 Real Madrid, Vinicius Jr. man of the match, Madrid first to score, for PSG 2-0, Mbappe to be player of the match, and for Bayern Munich 3-1, and I put Harry Kane to be player of the match. But I might change some of these. Let me know your predictions and what would you do. I haven't been able to put too much thought into these, so maybe they're not going to end up that great. We do have over 1,000 people watching, by the way. Thank you very much for all the support. But come on, let's get this up to 500 plus likes. It'd be greatly appreciated, and it costs nothing. As always, very soon I'll probably show my team, but just try not to copy. I mean, I don't know if this is going to fall on deaf ears, but I think you're just wasting your own potential if you're copying someone else. That's just the way I see it. And this vote, this poll between Vinicius and Mbappe is very close. Vinicius is slightly leading, and we've almost got 1,000 votes. So I'll wait until it gets to 1,000 votes, and then I'll end that poll and maybe go for a different kind of poll entirely. But yeah, I'll try to show my team very soon and then give your feedback in terms of my picks and see what you think about it. But don't copy. That is literally what I'm going to ask for. So thank you, Genius Gamer. I appreciate that. Marquinhos or Lucas Hernandez? Probably Marquinhos. Best Bellingham and Gvardiol replacements. Kalinoglu, and I would go for Ake. I can see Leipzig winning. Maybe in the first leg is possible, but I think overall Madrid will go through. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Lucas Hernandez. Maybe I'm missing something here. I'll have a look actually in terms of Lucas Hernandez and see what he's doing. But he's not someone I've ever really considered. He's been alright actually, to be fair, in UCL Fantasy. Yeah, only against Milan did he flop. In every other game, he's been okay. Even against Newcastle, when PSG got battered, he scored a goal and got a 6-pointer. Not a bad choice, I guess, but I don't know. I don't know. I think I prefer Marquinhos a little bit more, based on ball recovery potential. And then you've got Hakimi, of course, with the really high attacking ceiling. Kane or Vinicius? I would go for Kane. Hi, Dylan. Is anyone essential? I think it's not a question of players being essential. It's a question of teams. So Man City, yeah, I think they're essential. You should go for at least 2. I think 3 might be the sweet spot, potentially 4. Then you're looking at Bayern Munich and Real Madrid coverage as well. But I don't think a particular player, because for example, if you don't go for Kane, you can go for Mbappe, Haaland, and Vinicius Jr. Best cheap defenders under 5 million, Maatsen would definitely be one of them. Final question, KDB or Foden? If money is no issue, then yeah, KDB definitely tempts me. I'm not going to lie, but I also think value is a big part of it. And if buying Foden enables you to go for Vinicius up front, something like that, then I'd go for Foden. Any defender to replace Hummels for next week? Already have a Bayern defense and Man City defense. Yeah, you could just go for a like-for-like in Maatsen from Borussia Dortmund or Schlotterbeck. There's also Saliba, Kim Min-jae. But yeah, you said no Bayern Munich defense. Maybe Carvajal from Real Madrid. Should I upgrade Yamal or keep him? He's a decent differential, but I'm going in a different direction. I'm not going for him personally. Brahim Diaz or Kalinoglu? Says Marco. Kalinoglu. For 1 week, maybe Brahim Diaz is better, but I'd rather have Kalinoglu for the long term. No tengo mucha opinión de Bareldo. Creo que hay mejores opciones en otros lugares. Do you prefer FPL or UCL Fantasy? I prefer UCL Fantasy. Cancelo or a City defender? City defender. Why Schlotterbeck over Maatsen? I'm currently going for Maatsen. Like I said, what you see on screen is to prevent copying. Do you pick KDB and Saka both? I'm currently going for Saka only, but that might change. I'm not going to lie, that might change. I might go for KDB as well, but it would require a big reshuffle at the back. So, we do have 38 minutes left. So yeah, time is ticking. And yeah, let's see what we can achieve now. So, overall, okay, I don't want to jinx it, definitely not, but things have been going quite smooth so far. It's like I've never left home. And now, stream cut. Wouldn't surprise me. So, yeah, I'll go back to your questions and comments very soon, but I am going to be making some changes to my squad. So yeah, let's see. Have we got 1,000 votes in the poll? Almost. So we've got 10 more votes to get to 1,000. Then I'm going to end that and move on to something else. We do have over 1,100 people watching. Let's get this stream to over 500 likes. It'd be greatly appreciated. And like I said, it costs nothing at all. And also, if I've answered your question or helped you in any way, you're finding this entertaining or useful, then why not show something in return as well? So yeah, I think this is pretty much, yeah, it's already gone to over 1,000 votes. Vinicius Jr. with 54% of the vote. Very close call. I think when I put it on my channel, Vinicius also won, but not by much as well. It's a really close call. So yeah, I'm going to end that poll. Vinicius is the winner. He might be the one to go for. I think in his last, was it 15 Champions League games, he's got 9 goals and 8 assists. A very good record indeed. But so does Mbappe. Fantastic record as well. So let's see what else we have. Any messages from obviously patrons and channel members? One of the perks is priority to reply. So yeah, I'm gonna see if I've missed anything. Thank you, Punjabi. As he says, be sure to smash the like button. Raya for Edison, so I can bring in KDB. In that case, I'd say yes. I think it's worth it. Versus Brentford, we saw Foden crush it in the 10, out on the wing next game and less effective. Yeah, I think against Brentford, he also played as a left winger, but whenever he plays on the right, it's just, I don't know, he's just really ineffective. And in terms of output, he's really underwhelming on the right-hand side. And it's all to facilitate Alvarez as an attacking midfielder. If it's De Bruyne, then fair enough, you understand it. But Alvarez, I don't know, I really don't get it. But, you know, Guardiola's a genius. So, yeah, we can't really begrudge him too much. What's the status of Upamecano? Nothing really. It's just there's a lot of doubts about the Bayern Munich lineup. Müller might start. And as the centre-backs, it could be Kim Min-jae and Eric Dyer. Hummels just came back from an illness. He's not injured, but he hasn't started a single game since returning from illness. Yeah, I'm on vacation, so that's why the sound might be a bit different. There's a bit of an echo and stuff like that. The lighting and stuff is all different. Yeah, no problem, Alexander. Yeah, don't worry. I'll try to do it very soon, by the way, in terms of showing my team, because I do want to show people my team, but don't copy. I don't know how many times I have to say it, just to people in general. Best Bayern defender, Kim Min-jae is my favorite. Then it's probably Upamecano. Yeah, thank you, Musi. I appreciate it. I mean, that's a very good point, actually. You know, over 1,000 votes. Yeah, I mean, you can definitely do it for the likes, but let's get this to over 500. Rodrigo and KDB or Foden and Vinicius? Good question. I would go for Foden and Vinicius. Akash says Hakimi, Kim Min-jae, Ake, Matson, Saliba. Changes? That's currently my defensive 5, really. I've got Ruben Diaz instead of Ake. I might make that switch myself to Ake. I think that's a pretty good defensive 5, to be honest. Worth to put both Foden and KDB? Yes, I definitely think so. Play Vinicius and KDB or Mbappe or Foden? So I'm guessing it's a duo question. I like both, but say Vinicius and KDB is slightly better. Cancelo or Hakimi? Generally speaking, Cancelo's better, but based on fixtures and stuff like that and form, I'd go for Hakimi. I would go for Matson first, Schlotterbeck second, and Hummels third, but that's with the assumption that Hummels is a rotation risk tomorrow. Keep Cancelo. I'm not against that. He's a very template pick, so he could destroy my rank a little bit. But yeah, I think if there's any Barcelona player to keep, it would be Cancelo. Are DeMarco or Dumfries nailed? Not necessarily nailed. With DeMarco, he did suffer an injury a couple of weeks back, but yeah, he's all fine now. But yeah, with DeMarco, he tends to be subbed off early, and there's also Augusto, who sometimes takes some starts off him. With Dumfries, he's not the most nailed-on player anyway. Don't have Vinicius, but you think I should pick him over Rodrigo? Yes. Has Foden's position put you off picking him? Not really. I think if he plays on the right consistently, and it looks like he is with this setup as well, that does put me off a little bit, but he is a good option in general. Mbappe disaster class as Brian. Let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. I have no idea whether to captain Haaland or KDB. Well, because you have so many different captaincy options to go on the Wednesday tomorrow and also next week, maybe I'd go for KDB to go for something different. Yeah, Venom, that's what I typically do, or just a couple of minutes before. But yeah, people don't like it either way. So yeah, you can't please everyone. That's what it comes down to. Lamine or Andias or Zaire-Emery and Musiala? I would go for Zaire-Emery and Musiala. Play KDB and Carvajal or Foden and Hakimi, says Tomer. I would play Foden and Hakimi. Best goalkeepers this week? Tricky, but I'd say Edison and Neuer. If you want a cheaper option in goal, then maybe I'd go for Lunin instead, or potentially Kobel. Lunin or Ramiro, Lunin. Golded says, my option is KDB and Foden, Musiala, or Foden, Rodri, Saka, leaning towards number one. Yeah, I'd probably go for number one too. Captaincy polls, please. Yeah, remember, in terms of people asking, should I captain Kane or Mbappe? Well, that's fine, actually. If you're saying Kane or Haaland, just captain Haaland today and then captain Kane tomorrow if you're not happy with your original captaincy points. But let me put that poll out. We'll stick to captaincy options for today, but I'm going to give you a spoiler alert. Haaland's going to win it by some margin. So who are you captaining today? Yeah, Jose Pedro is spamming the chat, so I'll deal with that now. There's literally no reason to spam. You're not going to have your question answered, mate, so bye-bye. So who are you captaining today? We'll put that as a poll. I'll put Haaland towards the bottom. Maybe that'll help even up the poll a little bit more. So I'm going to put De Bruyne, Haaland. No, let's put Vinicius above him as well. Vinicius, Junior, and a fourth option. I'm guessing people will gravitate towards Man City players anyway, so maybe I'll put a Foden in there as well. Yeah, Copenhagen, not even going to entertain. Leipzig either. Madrid, Rodrigo would be a shout, but I think I'm sticking with these four. Yeah, with Bellingham out now, and he was going to be my original captain. Yeah, I think these are the four to put for the captaincy poll. So yeah, be sure to vote there and let me know your thoughts. We've got over 350 likes. Let's get this to 500 and keep on pushing. Thank you to those that have done it already. Massively appreciated. Just realized bringing in Musiala means Kimmich is stuck on the bench. Well, but you could bring him on, couldn't you, anyway, for any low-scoring 13th of February player. Now, if you're in a situation where everyone returns on the 13th, that could be a problem, but it's not a guarantee. Cancelo or Gabriel? I'd go for Cancelo. You can cover Arsenal defensively with Raya or Saliba. Append the captain, fair enough, it's a differential. I'm not really on board with that. Will Sane play? Yes, he didn't train fully the other day. I think he only did 15 minutes, but I think he will start. Hey Dylan, who do you prefer, Rodri or Foden? I prefer Foden, but Rodri is a very consistent option. 4 or 5 points with ball recoveries. He's a jack of all trades, player of the match awards, long shots, the odd assist here and there. Akram says, hi Dylan, don't you think Mbappe will shine tomorrow, especially that Enrique knows so well tactically the Spanish teams? That could play that could play a part. And also Mbappe, at least against Barcelona a couple of years ago, he destroyed them both home and away, particularly at the Camp Nou. So yeah, look, it's not a bad suggestion what you make there, but look, there's so many different things. Vinicius as well is in great form. Mbappe hasn't been particularly great in the Champions League this season. Would Lautaro be a dark horse pick? Yes, but I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not on board. And look, I'm an Argentine. I like Lautaro Martinez. Even when he was pretty poor in the World Cup, I backed him. But there's a few reasons why I don't like him. One more yellow, and he's suspended. So that is already a big, major put-off. Number two, you've got much better alternatives with better fixtures. You've got Vinicius Jr., Rodrigo, Haaland, Kane, Mbappe. Even a few other forwards like Gabriel Jesus or Martinelli would pique my interest in Matchday 7 and Matchday 8 over Lautaro Martinez. So he's not a bad pick. He's still a good one, but I'm just not on board with it. Atletico Madrid as well. That's the third reason. That is a tough game. So yeah, I think there are better options. Is Carvalho worth it? Yeah. I think one Real Madrid defender is fine. I do prefer Lunin in goal. But yeah, I think that's fine. I wish I could meet this chat spammers in person. I felt like they would look like NPCs. Oh, God. All right, well, maybe. But look, I understand sometimes why people spam because, you see that your question isn't being answered, and I don't do it on purpose, but it's quite difficult to keep up with a chat like this. But if you just keep on spamming, it's just literally pointless in my opinion. Darmian's play secured. He was rotated a lot in the group stages, but recently in Serie A, he is starting a lot of games at right wing back and also at centre back. So I think he could be a decent shout actually. But I think Sommer in goal is probably your best bet. Ventislav, welcome. Just tuning in. Please comment. Think of any changes. Also, great vibes as always. Thanks a lot and good luck. Likewise, mate. Great team. I'm actually quite similar in terms of the setup. Yeah, pretty good. I like the Diaz 1 week punt pick. Obviously, in general, Diaz isn't my favorite, but for 1 week, that looks decent. And yeah, the front three is as good as you can get. It's just a question of Vinicius versus Mbappe and very close call, which can go either way. But overall, I'm really happy with that. And it's looking very solid indeed, to be honest. Kane or Rodrigo? Kane, no doubt about that. Long-term Kane. Which 7.2 million forward? I have Haaland, Vinicius, KDB, and Foden. Let me try break that down. 7.2 million forward. You're not really going to have much there, mate. I think my favorite will be Fulkrug. No, he's 7.5. Jesus. Yeah, a lot of the options are above your price threshold. I'm not going to lie. Alvarez is on the bench. He's generally the best one, but you're not going to go for him now, are you? Evanilson, as someone else mentioned earlier, but he's facing Arsenal. I mean, if you're backing Porto to do well, then maybe he could be your best pick there. Apart from that, I don't really have anyone in mind. I'm looking down the list and yeah, it's not looking great, to be honest. So I'm probably going to say Evanilson is up there and Alvarez, but he's benched, of course. So that is my final answer. So we've got 26 minutes left and we do have over 1,000 people watching still. Be sure to drop a like. And look, what I'm going to do now, let's see how this turns out, is show you what I'm currently at, where I'm currently at with my team. So yeah, just give me a second whilst this all loads up. So this is what I'm going for. I've got everything sorted here as well. So I've got Edison, Ruben Diaz, Foden, Haaland all starting from today's games. I've got no Real Madrid players currently. I did swap Vinicius Jr. to Mbappe just a couple of hours ago, really. It's so difficult, I think, to just narrow down to 3. It's difficult to leave any of these forwards out. But Vinicius Jr. might come in for Mbappe or Harry Kane. And I might even bring in Ake for Ruben Diaz. So those are 2 changes I could make. So yeah, let's actually go to the transfer section. Let's go to that. And let's see if we can maybe make some improvements. So let me know what you think in the live chat. Is maybe just name a player that you think could be upgraded on. So Ruben Diaz, for example, or I don't know, whoever it may be, Edison. But there could be some changes here. And one change I'm considering is Ake instead of Diaz. Teg did mention that very good point about the yellow card. 1 more yellow and Ruben Diaz is suspended. He might even do a tactical one in Matchday 7, especially if Man City are cruising. Ake, though, I mean, I look at his points this season. They haven't been particularly great. And one thing about him is that he does get these appearances off the bench. I mean, that's not a big, problem in UCL Fantasy, really. That's more of an issue in FPL. But yeah, Ake hasn't been that great, really, in this fantasy format. Even ball recoveries hasn't been that good. If I look at Kyle Walker, he's actually been a bit better, but also not that impressive. And a lot of these C defenders are heavily reliant on clean sheets. But against Copenhagen, you can certainly argue that they have a good chance of doing so. But yeah, let's go to your comments. And once again, I'm probably going to say this and it will fall upon deaf ears, but my best advice that you can take from this video is don't copy, whether it's me or anyone else. Yeah, Alan, I'm not even too sure, but probably because it's a busy stream, people are looking to spam and get their points across. I definitely would make Diaz to Ake and Mbappe to Vinicius changes. Yeah, I think Mbappe to Vinicius is very likely, but looking at the points over the season and also historically, who is good in UCL Fantasy, I think Ruben Diaz is better than Ake, but the suspension risk is a concern and also the extra $500,000. Diaz for ball recoveries, yeah, and that's also the kind of thinking I've always had with him. I was going to go for Gvardiol, but I think yesterday or the day before we found out that he's not in the squad. Kimmich over De Bruyne. Well, there's a big difference in price. If I had 4 million remaining, then yeah, I'd go to De Bruyne, no doubt about it. And I would recommend it to you as well. Stones. My problem with Stones is that he's a bit too injury prone for my liking, but good shout. Very good shout. So this season he hasn't played much in the Champions League, but generally speaking, maybe not this season, but he's good for ball recoveries. That's one thing I like about Stones. But yeah, I think I might just go for Ruben Diaz, and let's see how that goes. Earlier in the season, I had a Kanji, and he did well for me in 1 match day where he scored. But apart from that, he was quite useless for my squad. Ake and a cheaper defender, and Kalanoglu for KDB as possible. Yeah, look, unfortunately for me, it wouldn't be possible. I'd have to downgrade a defender, for example. That would be the problem. That would be the problem. How about Walker? Yeah, look, in FPL, I was actually quite on board with buying him, but now he's been benched in the last couple. In UCL Fantasy, though, I like ball recoveries. If a defender doesn't offer attacking potential, then I want ball recoveries, and I think Diaz offers that, and Gavardio, not so much of Walker. Ruben Diaz for Di Lorenzo, yes, and even Cancelo's another one I'm thinking about. Thank you for the super chats there, so let me just get this up. Yeah, for some reason I can't find. I'm not sure if there's a second one. Let me just check this. Haribo, thanks for all your advice. One more, please. Would you prefer Saka and Edison or KDB and Raya? Now, that is extremely difficult, but I'm probably going to go for Saka and Edison, and that's what I'm currently going for right now. So, yeah. I think that would be my final answer. It's really close, but Saka and Edison is what I'm going to go for. Thank you very much, Haribo, as always, and I appreciate it. I wish you all the best of luck. How important is a buying defender? I mean, it's not essential or anything, but I would cover them. In terms of underlying numbers, they have one of the best across all of Europe, and they've got some good defenders for ball recovery points as well. Mauro says, Lunin, Ake, Foden, KDB, Carvajal, Vinicius, Haaland, Kane, second captain, Sane, Kim Min-jae, Emery, Hummels or Matson. Hope not need to have both. Sommer, 0.3 million in the bank for Game Week 8. Yeah, fair enough. That's a good plan, and it's a good squad that you have. You're pretty well set. And it's a good thing, I think, to have a lot of your players featuring this week. So then you can take off your low-scoring players and, yeah, you can bring on the big guns next week like Saka. In your case, I think, do you even have Saka? I'm not even sure. Rodrigo or Vinicius? Vinicius. Gabriel Jesus will start both games. If he's fit, then maybe. But I'm not going to lie, I kind of see him starting one and being benched in the other. Why not De Bruyne? Funds, mate. I mean, be my guest. What would you do? Would you downgrade Mbappe or Vinicius to a cheaper forward like Rodrigo and then go for De Bruyne? But then who do I downgrade? So let's actually play around with that. So let's take out Mbappe. Let's put Rodrigo, for example. I'm not a big fan of, but he's decent in UCL Fantasy. That gives me 9.7 million, so almost enough to get De Bruyne, but it requires another downgrade, and maybe I'm looking at Hakimi here, and I could downgrade him as well. So let's go to De Bruyne. Oh no, I've got too many Man City players, for the love of Christ. Maybe Foden could make way instead. That could be a thing I could do. Foden, mamma mia. So let's go for Neuer instead. So I'm making a lot of changes to bring in Kevin De Bruyne. I don't want to sell Saka or Foden, to be honest. So yeah, we'll go for this. And then I have 5.4 million for a defender. And it would be, let's see, 5.4 million for a defender. Who would I go for? I'm not a big fan of doubling up on Borussia Dortmund defensively, but Hummels would be good for ball recoveries. If he starts, that's the big if. Di Lorenzo is just above that. Either way, I'm not a big fan of the fixture. Maybe a Paris Saint-Germain defender instead of Hakimi, a cheaper option. But yeah, I could actually make this work, to be fair. I could. Marquinhos is 5.5 million. Let's see what Hernandez is. Hernandez is 5 million. Yeah, not bad. So I could go for something like this. And you know what? We're going to show it side by side just so you can compare it. I want to see your thoughts. So just very quickly in the live chat, say yes or no. Or yes or no, one or two. Just to let me know which team you prefer. So this is my current setup. And this is the one that has KDB instead. So yeah, I just want to see your thoughts. Let me just adjust this so they're quite similar. Yeah. So this is team one. So it's Edison, Sommer, Ruben Diaz, Hakimi, Kim Min-jae, Matson, Saliba, Foden, Emery, Kalanoglu, Kimmich, Saka, Haaland, Kane, Mbappe. And team number two is Neuer and Sommer, Ruben Diaz, Lucas Hernandez, Kim Min-jae, Matson, Saliba, Foden, Emery, De Bruyne, Kimmich, Saka, and a front three of Haaland, Kane, and Rodrigo. So let me know which team you prefer, one or two in the live chat. I'll be very eagerly seeing your thoughts. That's for sure. So yeah, we actually got a very close one. I probably should have put a poll for that. Yeah, that's really Really close. Yeah, second team looks way more fun, potentially. Dave says, have 4.6 million for a defender. Any thoughts on the team? Yeah, you've already got Matson, that's the thing. I'm not a big fan of the defenders at 4.6 million and below, to be honest. That's the issue. So, okay, so we've got Squidward saying 1, then we've got Nikolai saying 2, Utopia saying 2, Haribo, Ripaldo, BMVC, David all saying 1. That is a very close score, to be honest. I think that might be the next poll, since Erling Haaland captain is quite redundant at this point. I think Team 1 covers the spread better, says Lavinier. That's a good point. It's interesting, to be honest, how people have different opinions on the same team. But yeah, I might put a poll out very soon, and I'm going to be locking in. But yeah, I don't want to make too many changes. Whenever I make late moves, whether it's the captaincy, transfers, or benching stuff, it always ends up going pretty poor. We do have still over 1,100 people watching. Let's get this stream to 500 likes. Plug away at that, especially if I answered your question today. We're going to end this captaincy poll, which is one of the most useless polls I've made in a while, to be honest. Everyone's going for Haaland, it seems. But what I will encourage for people is to go for something different today, because you have 3 more opportunities to change the captaincy. So, which team do you prefer? Team 1, Team 2. I'm trying to see if I can add the players' names here already. So what would be the differences? It'd be Edison. I don't think it even fits. So let me see if I can make that work. Edison, Hakimi. Yeah, no, it wouldn't fit in terms of characters. That's a bit annoying. Kalinoglu. Yeah, so I'm just going to put Team 1 and Team 2. So, let's put this up again. Alright, this is probably the last poll I'm going to put out, at least for me personally. If there are any other polls you want to see, let me know. But yeah, to be honest, this is the only one that is for me, designed for me specifically. So just to reiterate, this is Team 1 that you see on screen. And to be honest, Mbappe could be Vinicius, and I'm looking to bring him in. So this is Team 1. Team 2 is this, and it also allows me to go for De Bruyne. And to be fair, I could sell Foden to get De Bruyne and keep Kalinoglu. But yeah, not so sure. I mean, if I'm looking at this, I do slightly prefer Team 1, I think, personally. Just kind of looking at it, and I haven't seen the votes yet. Yeah, Team 1 is slightly winning with the votes, 56%. Interesting, very interesting indeed. But let's go to your questions. I'm going to go back to your questions and whiz through them quickly. If not Kane, then Musiala or Kimmich? Well, in terms of attacking potential, Musiala is certainly better, but I'd rather go for Kimmich. Thank you, Jojo. I appreciate that. What's your team? Well, you can see it. I've been showing it. I haven't fully settled in yet. There's still a few things to iron out. Hey, Dylan, when looking at the fixtures, I thought 3-4 from Madrid made sense, but looks like you have 0 like me. I'm looking to bring in 1 at least, and I don't want to go without them. Can you show side by side? I can't, unfortunately. I mean, I'm trying to think how I could do that. I don't think I can. Yeah, I know it would make it much more simple. I can only do that, just flick between them. So, yeah. Basically, what it comes down to, it's not even that many changes, really. It's Rodrigo instead of a premium forward like Mbappe or Vinicius. It's De Bruyne instead of Kalinoglu. It's Lucas Hernandez instead of Hakimi. And Neuer instead of Edison. That's pretty much what it comes down to. And I could even keep Edison, but sell Foden to De Bruyne instead and keep Kalinoglu. So it only comes down to 2 free changes there if I were to do that. But yeah, that's really what it comes down to ultimately. So, get rid of Edison. I don't like Edison in fantasy formats generally, but I think in UCL Fantasy is better because you want someone who has a good chance of reaching, you're going really far in the competition. And I think Edison could do that. And also, I think Man City against Copenhagen get at least 1 clean sheet. Ramiro and DeMarco / Hernandez or Lunin and Darmian? Great question. I would go for Lunin and Darmian. Challenge for you, Dylan. Can you pick 2 captains for each day of the round of the 16 first leg? Yes. I think the first 2 days speak for itself. So Haaland and Vinicius, I think, would be day 1. And to be honest, KDB is really tempting. But yeah, that would be day 1. Day 2, Mbappe and Kane. Day 3, I'd say Kalinoglu and This is where it gets difficult, I'm not going to lie. Kalinoglu and maybe Griezmann. And for the fourth day, I'd probably say Saka. Saka for sure, and... Ooh, that is tough. I'm not going to lie, that is very tough indeed. You're going to have to give me a second there. Mamma mia. I'd maybe go for another Arsenal player, Jesus, assuming he's fit by then. So yeah, I think the last day is the toughest one to call. All right. So yeah, we've got 12 minutes left until the deadline. Let's push on to 500 likes. We're very close. We've got 94 left. So be sure to plug away with the likes, and I'll be wrapping through these questions very soon and locking in my final team, which isn't locked in for sure. Barca's a Finnish club. Do not sign Barca players. I'm probably not going to sign their players. Only Cancelo. Only Cancelo. And Mr. Lewin is spamming Lamar. Fair enough. Mbappe or Vinicius Jr.? It's really close. I've been flipping between the two of them, but I think I'm going to go for Vinicius in the end. If I go for that third premium spot, I think Vinicius. Lock in Yamal? I don't think so. Pavlic, bro, not for me. I think Kimmich is better. Kivior is 5.8, but Saliba's 5.5. Yeah, I think they were smoking when they made those prices. To be fair, though, Kivior could start now if Zinchenko is still out. But Tomiyasu, I think, is now close to a return, so maybe not. Maatsen or Hummels? Maatsen. If Hummels was starting every single game, then I'd go for him. Ake or Stones? Probably Stones. Mbappe and Foden or Kane and KDB, says Joshua Jones. I would go for Kane and KDB, but honestly, that's really close. Mbappe tonight and Vinicius next leg. Yeah, true, that is a good point, but Vinicius has done well away from home too. Look at the Napoli game earlier this season, and I think Braga was another one. He's returning every game regardless, but yeah, Mbappe at home, that is true, that is true. It's just, I don't like having no Madrid coverage. That bothers me a little bit. I could go for Lunin instead of Ederson, but I'd rather go for the attackers. Cancelo, Musiala, or Saka and Hernandez? I would go for Saka and Hernandez. Di Lorenzo a good choice? Yeah, I think so. I think he's a good choice. He's not a great one, as he usually is in UCL Fantasy, though. Best two Arsenal midfielders, Saka and Odegaard. Hakimi or Cancelo? Hakimi. What about putting KDB with Foden? I mean, it's a possibility. Like I discussed, it's in the poll as well. I think I'm going to go for Team 1, though. I think it's what I've been talking about for most of my videos. And yeah, I'm going to try not to be swayed. Thank you, Ruben, for moderating the chat. Much appreciated as always. Kane or Mbappe? Kane. Why no Madrid mid and defenders? You can't cover them all, mate. That's where it literally comes down to. Carvajal would enter my thinking, potentially. Lunin in goal as well. Over 1,000 people. Let's hit 700 likes by the deadline, guys. Yeah, obviously, maybe that's pushing it because, you know, some people have slow thumbs maybe. But yeah, we're close to 500. We can definitely get to that. And we still have a lot of people watching. So be sure to like the video. 500 is definitely achievable. And we'll hit it by the end of the deadline. Sane, Foden, or KDB Thuram? Sane and Foden. Yeah. I'm going with Yamal. He will score an assist, trust me. Maybe you're onto something. And look, I'm not completely against Yamal. I'm not going to lie. He's an exciting pick. Ryan, Kim Min-jae, or Lunin and Saliba? I would go for Lunin and Saliba. Really close, though. Not going to lie. Really close. Lunin in goal would free up some budget. Yeah, true. I'm not a big fan of goalkeepers that are so expensive. But the thing with Lunin is, I don't know. Madrid aren't the greatest defensively. And I'm backing Man City to keep a clean sheet. That's my kind of take on it. But yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe you are. So let's actually play around with this. So Ederson instead of... Lunin instead of Ederson. Yeah, I mean, look at that. Lunin. Look at that. Mamma mia, mamma mia. Lunin in goal. I don't see a clean sheet this match day for Madrid. Maybe at the Bernabeu, but yeah, I just think Man City are better defensively. But it is more balanced, you could argue. 2 million in the bank. I mean, then I could, I get closer towards getting De Bruyne. I could do something like this, but then it requires going for a cheap defender instead of Hakimi. Let's say, for example, I'll go for Hernandez. I'd be 0.3 million off. And then it comes down to what can I do to make this work? And maybe the answer is Calhanoglu instead of Foden. Maybe, but I do like Foden. He's been very good for me in UCL Fantasy. You know what? I think this is how I can make it work. I just... let's go for this. So... yeah, Lunin. Let's go for this. De Bruyne. 5.2 million. Yeah, I can go for Ake. I could go for something like this very easily. I mean, I'm guessing people are going to say yes. So just say yes or no in the live chat. What do you think? I might make a move like that. A few changes to bring in De Bruyne. Captain Haaland or De Bruyne, answer ASAP. I'll go for De Bruyne. Something different. You can always have Mbappe or Harry Kane tomorrow. People are saying yes. Wow, okay. Damn, people are resoundingly saying yes. Tony Shan says, hey Dylan, Openda and Xavi Simons, good or bad picks? They're good picks. I think one is good enough. Don't go for two unless you're backing Leipzig to shock Madrid and go through. And look, I think sometimes we get too bogged down in terms of, oh, are they going to go through or not? And let's say, for example, with Xavi Simons, oh yeah, I think Leipzig will be knocked out, so I'm not going to go for him. But you're missing out on points in the meantime. Also, I think Vermeeren is going to be a great pick. Yeah, he was good earlier in the season, and now he's at Atletico Madrid. That's a good shout. Musiala, Stones, or Ruben Dias and Kimmich? Says Ricardo Salvador. I would go for Ruben Dias. I would go for Ruben Dias, Kimmich. Mbappe or Vinicius? I'm going to go for Vinicius. Not going to lie, that looks really good. Oh, thank you. Don't copy, people. Yeah, don't copy. That's the team I was saying, says Ruben. Oh, fair enough. Maybe I'm copying you. Maybe I am. Level Earth. Thank you. No worries, mate. Matson or Hummels? Matson. Just because of Hummels, there's a doubt about him starting. Neuer or Lunin? I think Neuer is slightly better in terms of clean sheet chances, but Lunin is cheaper and it frees up funds. This is better, but don't get me wrong, your initial team can also do good. Yeah, it's really close, I think. Really close. Why Calhanoglu over Thuram? More nailed on, and he's on penalties. But yeah, I agree, Goldhead. It's definitely just down to gut feeling. Rodri or Kimmich? I would go for Kimmich. It's insane you have money for this. Yeah, I think my value is 107.6 million. Matson is the one who was at Chelsea. He's a left back. He started the last 5 games for Dortmund with 2 assists and I think 3 yellow cards. He's been very impressive. I'd sign Brahim Diaz instead of Kimmich and Mbappe instead of Vinicius if I were you, just my opinion. They're good suggestions and I think they're quite close. The thing with Brahim Diaz is it's maybe booking in a transfer, whilst with Kimmich it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of a difficult one. I like the way you're thinking there because you're covering Mbappe and you've got that Real Madrid attacking coverage. It's really good suggestions. I think I'll stick with this though. Thank you, Keith, by the way. No question, just some dinero for a cerveza while watching. You're on holiday after all. Thank you, Kat. You didn't have to. Always appreciate it, mate. You're a legend. And also, thank you for becoming a channel member so long ago. Genuinely appreciate it. Good luck for UCL Fantasy, Matchday 7, and also for FPL. It's also, if you notice, the only way you can have such high-value goal threats in one team. Saka, KDB, Foden, Haaland, Vinicius, Kane, even Emery's a threat. Yeah, and you can't have them all. Another one is obviously Mbappe, who I don't have currently. Dylan, guys, in 5 minutes left. Yes, now we've got less than 4. So be sure to lock in your teams now. Gracias, Alexander. Gracias por tu ayuda, hermano, como siempre. Gracias, mate. And Gary says, toasted Dylan. Yeah, I'm feeling the burn, mate. I'm feeling the burn. Very sensitive skin. People warn me, but whatever. I don't listen. So I think these are the changes I'm going to make. Lucas Hernandez and Ake coming in. I could even... Wait, can I? No, I couldn't. But yeah, triple Man City attack is maybe a bit excessive. Maybe it is. Maybe it's a bit excessive, isn't it? I think that's a bit... But, you know, it's De Bruyne. It's De Bruyne. So yeah, I think this is pretty much how I'm going to end up with. Any potential other changes? Kim In-jae, I'm a bit concerned about. Is he going to start? I think he will. So he stays in there. Instead of Kimmich, I can go for Yamal, I think. No, I'm 0.1 million off. Yeah, another one is Brahim Diaz. I can go for him instead of Kimmich. Brahim Diaz, let's see. He has been quite good, actually, in the Champions League when he started. Yeah, he's been quite good, actually. Very good. Interesting indeed. And I could go for Mbappe as well. So I can go for Mbappe and also go for Brahim Diaz. Yeah, that looks pretty good as well. But ultimately, I think this is how I'm going to line up. So I'm going to stick with Kimmich. Very consistent option. And I'm going to go for Vinicius Jr. So that is pretty much it, I believe. And now it's time to lock this in and make sure that my bench is ordered in the right way. It pretty much is. So Sommer, Maatsen, Saliba, and Saka on the bench. And then I've got Lunin, Ake, Hernandez, Kim Min-jae, De Bruyne, Foden, Zaire-Emery, Kimmich, Vinicius Jr., Haaland, and Harry Kane. So pretty strong lineup. Triple Bayern Munich, 4 Man City, 2 PSG. I've got 1 Real Madrid. I've also got, no, 2 Real Madrid, sorry. I've also got 1 Inter Milan, 1 Borussia Dortmund, and 2 Arsenal. A nice mix, and I believe all of these teams will be going through. But yeah, of course, there's no such thing as a perfect team. And in the end, I think Goldhead gave me a nice idea with those late moves. We're 50 likes away from 500. Be sure to plug away. Dylan just jinxed the whole City squad. I mean, to be fair, in UCL Fantasy, I tend to do quite well, but never say never. Triple C is excessive. Wow, words I'd never thought I'd hear. Yeah, I mean, I've got 4 Man City. That's where it's a bit... It's just, I'm not really a fan of tripling up on certain attacks, but I think with these fixtures coming up in Matchday 7 and 8, it's certainly worth a try. Fasten your seatbelts, that's definitely right. Thank you, Ahmed, as well, for the super chat. Enjoy your vacation, brother. You're the best. Thank you very much, mate, as always. And thank you to everyone who's sending a super chat and those that have become channel members and patrons today. A plus 3 fullbacks who carry threat. It's looking tasty. Yeah, look, it looks great on paper, but can they get points in the end? Let's see. No worries. Well, thank you, Godhead. Some good suggestions from you today. Bro, now you're copying my team. Sorry, mate. I'm sorry. I mean, I can do it, but you can't. That's the way it works. Joking. Maatsen or Kim Min-jae? I would go for Kim Min-jae. 2 minutes left, man. Yeah, we are locked in pretty much. Just a few seconds left. Let me make sure that this is locked in. Otherwise, I'll be crying. I'll be absolutely crying if I don't get this done. So yeah, I'm going to go for Haaland captain, I think, although I'm very tempted by De Bruyne. But yeah, looking pretty strong, arguably. So the changes I made really were Hernandez in for Hakimi, Lunin in for Ederson, De Bruyne in for Çalhanoğlu, and Vinicius for Mbappe, which I kind of chopped and changed quite a bit. But the rest is pretty much done. And yeah, we're locked in. It's 9 o'clock in Spain. 8 p.m. in the UK, and we are locked in, and yeah, everything's sorted. So time to relax now and watch the football, but I'm still here. I'd like to go through your questions and comments as always. Apologies if I didn't get to you. I try my best, but today was just kind of ridiculous, and I'm on holiday, so my brain's a bit switched off. Good luck to you as well, KYZZ. No worries, Matic. I am late in the stream. Yeah, don't worry, that happens sometimes. And also, yeah. Zoom out, says Gustav. Zoom out, he says. Oh, yeah, my bad. It's, yeah, good point. I appreciate that. Oh, damn. That was my laptop, by the way. That wasn't the internet. That just lagged a lot. Maybe it's the heat. The heat is getting to us. It really is. Versus Copenhagen makes sense. Yeah, I mean, on paper it does. Copenhagen were quite decent in the Champions League group stages. Even at Bayern Munich, they got a result, but Man City should get the job done. Look at the points, says Lavenier. I'm not sure what that's in regards to. Zaire-Emery scored already. Come on, lads. Yeah, I actually didn't even realize that. Yeah, come on, 3 points. Why not? I'd love that in FPL, by the way, especially all the times we've got robbed of, Gabriel goals and Saka assists and Solly March goals. But yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with the points there, but hopefully it's a sign of things to come. Hopefully it is. Let's see. I think, for me, the biggest 50-50 call this week was Vinicius versus Mbappe. Let's see how that turns out. Maybe, as someone else said earlier, going for Mbappe now with the home fixture is the way to go. But John Shanley says, nice one, Dylan. You're doing the Lord Bentner's work. Well, that's very high praise indeed. Good luck to you, MMK. Yeah, I got 4 City. Walker, Edison, Rodri, Haaland. Good luck, mate. Good quartet. Rodri's a very good and underrated long-term pick. And we are locked in, chaps. Let the game begin. Yeah. Cheers, Nehal, sorry, and Yasser L. Thank you, man, and good luck. Likewise, Manuel Ribeiro says, who would you captain tomorrow? Kane? Yeah, definitely now. If I had Mbappe, maybe I'd go for him instead, but with Kane being my only genuine option tomorrow, it's going to be him. For the 20th, I'm looking to captain, well, now with no Çalhanoğlu, it might be Maatsen. And on the 21st, I'm looking at Saka. Points already, yeah, amazing. Who's watching the games tonight? If so, which one? I'm definitely going to watch them once the stream is done. Probably Real Madrid Leipzig, because Man City Copenhagen. Well, to be fair, UCL Fantasy wise, it's more engaging. What's going on with the points? No idea. Zé Emery goal, yeah, he scored. He's back from the future. Despite the game taking place tomorrow, he's got 8 points. No Kane for me, says Nuclear Atoms. Had 1.6 million left, so switch Lunin to Edison. Feeling Ake could be a transfer out next week, so Edison's a safety option. Yeah, that was my original thinking. This looks really good for Matchday 7, my setup, but it might be a problem in the weeks to come. That is a good point. Who is your attack? It's Vinicius, Haaland, and Kane. Mbappe was the closest to entering my final squad. Game started, let's go. Yeah, level up, good luck to you. Punjabi says, good luck, guys. Let's have a banging UCL Matchday 7. Yes, here. So no transfers until second leg? Yes. So, of course, we've used the unlimited transfers now, and I've got no wildcard left. So this has to be pretty spot on. But the way it works is you get free transfers for the second round, the second leg of the round of 16, and then you get 5 free transfers for the first leg of the following round, so the quarterfinals, and that's the way it works pretty much until the very end of the competition. Goal Copenhagen, says Goat. Champions League and Championship predictions left me short of time. Oh, I literally forgot. I actually forgot about that. Yeah, so let me actually go to the predictor. I always forget about that. But I did put 3-0 Man City, and that was my Joker score, and I put 3-1 Madrid. Let's see how that pans out. De Bruyne was my player of the match pick, and Vinicius Jr. I went for 2-0 PSG and 3-1 Bayern, but I might change that before the deadline for that. But yeah, so far, no goals. Let's see how that changes. Zé Emery's not playing today. Yeah, exactly. How did Zé Emery score? Yeah, no, it's just, I'm not even sure what's happening. Sign of things to come. Yeah, I mean, hopefully. Te advirtieron, cuidado con el sol, Fernando. Bueno, okay. Y bueno, soy medio pelotudo. De Bruyne captain for today. Fingers crossed, says Aaron. Good luck, mate. I was really tempted by De Bruyne. I didn't go for it in the end, but I'm a bit boring. Leipzig goal, says Goat. Really? Oh, wow. Yeah, fair enough. There you go. Already an immediate flop from changing Edison. And I had double Man City defense originally, but maybe if the attack fires, I will at least get something. But yeah, Leipzig scored. Any early finals prediction? Depends on the draw, but Man City and Madrid are the 2 favourites for me. So it depends how things turn out in the quarterfinals and stuff. There's also... Yeah, apart from those 2, I'd be looking at Bayern and Arsenal potentially, if they can, get their act together. But yeah, I'd probably say Man City and Madrid would be right up there. Good luck to you as well, Sudindra. Nuclear M says, cheers, Dylan. Hopefully Vinicius goes wild. He's the only one who can do anything for us, a la Madrid. Well, yeah, Bellingham normally, but of course he's gone. No goal Leipzig, guys. Chill. Oh, come on. Real Madrid tax. Come on, Real Madrid tax. Who would you captain tomorrow? Kane, and what about 20th and 21st? Says Manuel. Yeah, I covered that, mate. So tomorrow I'm going to captain Kane. If I had Mbappe, I'd maybe go for him instead. As for the 20th, I'm going to go for Matson. For those with Kalinoglu, I'd recommend him. And on the 21st, the plan is to captain Saka. RIP didn't do predictor either. Right, I did it, but I forgot to update it just in case I had second thoughts. But 3-0 and 3-1 for Madrid. Let's see. Luke de Jong will win Golden Boot. And if he does, then you're a guru. That was a glitch, says Prionto. Mr. Parky says Providel, Hernandez, Walker, Raum, Schlager, Zé, Emery, Foden, Sane, Kane, Captain Haaland, Vinicius, Bench, Summer, Upamecano, Saliba, Saka. Really good stuff. I'm just a bit concerned about Upamecano, and the same goes for Kim Min-jae. One of them could be benched tomorrow, and Eric Dyer could start instead. You've also got De Ligt as well. So yeah, Bayern Munich are a bit of a pain at the moment. Copenhagen keeper to save funds. Ah, fair enough, yeah. And you went for Providel, right? Yeah, I think your goalkeepers is the weakest part, but everything else looks fantastic. It was offside, says Goat. Ayub says offside too. Who would you captain tomorrow? I covered that, mate. Goal disallowed, says Badder. Outside of UCL Fantasy, thoughts on getting Bradley this week for FPL, Dylan? If Trent is ruled out, then I'd be really on board with that. There's no denying it. But wait first for more information. So by Thursday, I think, or Friday, we should get the press conference. I'll be doing a deadline stream for FPL on Friday. That is the plan anyway. And I'm also looking to do a team selection video and best wildcard team. For those that are channel members or patrons, be sure to check out the community tab on YouTube and the Patreon page because the best free hit team is already uploaded and you can see it. And tomorrow I'll publish it for all viewers. So many trolls to Sanyik. Yeah. You know, the other day I was doing a reaction stream for FPL and people kept saying, oh, even Ferguson's essential. Oh, he's amazing. I'm captaining. I'm like, what's going on here? Did people just say, yeah, in a group chat, let's troll this guy and talk about Ferguson? That was never offside, though, says Serial. Yeah, maybe a bit of jam there. Ake missed from 3 yards out. Daily Quotes is saying goal, probably a troll. Goldhead says controversy already. Many think VAR got the offside call wrong, but I don't know. I haven't seen it. Yeah, look, for me, and it goes for a lot of big clubs, they do get favoured in the Champions League and in the domestic leagues, and Madrid are one of them. In my opinion, they are one of the most favoured teams in general. But look, we all have our different opinions on that. What if Haaland scores 10 points? What, 10 points base score? I'd probably keep it on that. If Haaland scores 6 points or less, I would be very tempted to move it. 3 more chances for the captaincy, especially with Kane and Saka, who could do really well. I'd be tempted to change it, but 10 points, I'm sticking with Haaland, I think. Good luck as well, Arstravidan. Real Madrid game officials have been dodgy lately. Yeah, and look, you can say that whenever, to be honest. Imagine Dyer starting over De Ligt and Kim Min-jae. Feel sorry for Bayern fans. I don't really feel sorry for them. Look, Bayern Munich are obviously one of the biggest clubs in the world, but yeah, they've given most English teams a torrid time. Missed the deadline, didn't improve my draft. Yeah, look, if it wasn't for me making videos and streams, I probably would forget as well. That's what happened to me when I first started out FPL, and I played it very casually. Dylan, why don't they have ball recovery points in FPL? Yeah, look, it's just what I like about it is it makes players like Rodri, Declan Rice, more appealing, and it gives you an option. Do you go for a centre back like Van Dijk, or do you go for Trent for the attacking potential? It just balances the game a little bit, and it opens you up to new options. I've got Man City 4-0 and Real Madrid 1-0. Yeah, I went for 3-0 City and 3-1 Real Madrid, so let's wait and see. 2 chances on target from Madrid. Is Sane injured? He didn't fully train. I think he was only able to do 15 minutes. But I don't think he's injured, but he's got something, a little problem, but he's ready. He's going to be in the squad. Will he start? Let's wait and see, but I think he will be. F up my team now. I chose Šeško as he is starting from Slovenia like me. Well, no, that's still fine though. I mean, it is a fantasy game after all, and you're supposed to go for your own picks and your favourite players. So, look, who knows? He might get a goal today. Madrid aren't the greatest defensively. Goldeslang, the RB Leipzig goal, so that your team gets clean sheet points. I don't think it works that way, mate. I just think it's because it's Madrid. But I'll take it. It's a bit of jam. He'll probably get the clean sheet wiped out anyway. Vardra going to buy the refs to another UCL. Oh, dear. La Liga 2 says Bestie. Goal KDB? No way. If so, then yeah, I did well to buy him. But maybe I should have captained him, for Christ's sake. But a nice late move. I just have a bit more luck in UCL Fantasy, I think, compared to FPL. That's just the way I see it. But yeah, De Bruyne, yeah, it looks like he got the goal. And Foden assist. Wow, we're in dreamland here. Yeah, De Bruyne did score. And Foden got the assist. I'll be watching the game probably later on. Yeah, I'm kind of regretting not captaining De Bruyne now because I was telling people to do it. But yeah, at least I brought him in. So a nice start already to the Champions League. Luna in a bit of jam. And De Bruyne scored, Foden assists. So yeah, good start, good start. So thank you, Junaid, Sudindra, Level Earth. I'm just hearing of Sane's injury. No, so I talked about this throughout the stream. With Sane, I think 2 days ago or yesterday, he only trained for 15 minutes, but he still should be in contention to start. It's not a big issue. No, the deadline is on Saturday, but I will be traveling over the weekend. So if I were to do a deadline stream, it has to be on the Friday, just like last week. But from next weekend onwards, it will be back to usual, in my usual setting. None of this fancy lighting and these weird tans. Choose Nacho and hoping Ancelotti subs him off before Leipzig scores, says How2K. Yeah. To be fair, that's probably your ideal scenario, isn't it? Had KDB captain, change it last minute. At least you have him, though. Look on the bright side. But yeah, whenever you make late changes, or most times you do, it doesn't really go the way you want it. Yeah, KDB scored. No KDB, but Foden assist. Fair enough. Oh, not KDB. Oh, you don't have KDB. Fair enough. Oh, you can't have them all. Why do you have the tendency to always captain a striker? Not really. I just think it's because it's Haaland. Before Haaland, In UCL Fantasy, fair enough, you might be onto something. In FPL, though, I typically captain midfielders, I'm not going to lie. Before Erling Haaland, anyway. Subconscious bias, maybe. You're welcome for the KDB pick, still only at 11% ownership. Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. It was at 3% when you mentioned him, right? Hasn't blanked since he's come back from injury. Off the bench, getting assists against Newcastle, changed the game. Got his biggest return of the season. Yeah, good stuff, Goldhead. Definitely appreciate it. Let's get this stream to 500 likes. We are now going to wrap up. And I'm now going to have dinner. Once again, very late on. If you haven't already, smash the like button, subscribe for new, all that good stuff. And also be sure to share this video with those that love UCL Fantasy and FPL. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram, DylanRCM, and check all the links in the description below for the Patreon, Championships Discord server, the UCL Fantasy League, and Draft Hound. All of that is there. I'll go for a few last questions and comments. So yeah, good to see you, Twisted Parky, as always. I see a huge score here for City. Copenhagen haven't played since December and no sharpness at all. Very good point. I mentioned that towards the beginning, and when I saw that, it really struck me, and it's another added bonus for Man City. Cheers, Dave, as well. How could City today lineup affect the double game week in your opinion? I think Ake starting might result in him being benched in double game week 25 in one of the games, whilst Alvarez being benched could actually lead to him playing both games in 25. But there's also blank game week 26 to think about, so that's where things get very interesting. But I think Ake and Alvarez are the two ones to look out for, and maybe KDB as well. Thank you, GGA, as well. Massively appreciated. If you have any more UCL Fantasy or FPL questions, leave it in the comment section down below, and also on the social media platforms I talked about. And the plan is, like I said, to do a best wildcard team video and team selection. The transcripts is already out for double game week 25, and there's also a best free hit team video already on your way, and channel members and patrons can see it already. Punjabi says, Dylan, don't Haaland. Haaland is going to score a brace. Yeah, let's wait and see. Maybe I'm not going to worry anyway, because there's 3 more captaincy chances if Haaland flops. But let's see how it pans out. Good start. De Bruyne scored, Foden assist, and Lunin had a bit of VAR jam to save the clean sheet for now. Take care, enjoy the football. I'll see you very soon for more FPL and UCL Fantasy content, and I'll see you next time.